direct flight from Zenambra to Vasselheim. So you were going to stop at Stormhaven first. I believe I quoted you 250 gold for the lot of you to get back there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a layover.
Yes. And depending on the maps, and I have a vague memory of the descriptions of it from campaign 1, but I'm not even entirely certain that Vasselheim is like a coastal city. It is sort of not exactly a coastal city on this map.
Yeah, it's not in campaign
I don't
1.
think there was a port on it or anything. I
it's
think it was a little bit inland.
but it's not. I don't think you can just, there's no port there necessarily that you can just rock up to. I don't know what. I mean, we could assume that like on this map we can say that like we'll say Boulderthorn is the place that you might end up going to dock, and then you'd have to walk to Vasselheim.
That makes sense.
Get a ride to Vasselheim, depending, which is like 25-ish miles away.
About a day's journey.
Yeah, which is not exactly the most. If you were a city planner, that would probably not be a very good thing for this big massive city to be 25 miles away from port, but it is what it is. We're making it up as we go. So, there will probably be I think we established it would be about 5 to 7-ish days to get back to Stormhaven, and also that you're going to probably have a couple of days in Zenambra still, because it's not like you can just walk up and be like, all right, let's go to Stormhaven, and then like a big ship just takes you there, right? Like you have to kind of wait for them to get prepared and all that stuff. So if there's anything that you'd like to do in Zenambra before you depart, you can do so.
Callum just keeps doing what he's been doing the whole time we're here. Going out, roaming the streets, seeing who he can lend a hand to. Unless something comes up that prevents him from doing that or takes precedence.
Is there like semi-legal fighting pit or something I could take out some pent-up aggression on?
There is definitely a fighting pit. It's not really legal or illegal here in Zenambra. It just kind of is.
Yeah, I'd totally participate in a few rounds of that. See how far I can get before getting squished.
I think for myself, I'd be mainly available to people if they needed anything, but apart from that, maybe just walking around the city and seeing what there is. Not necessarily like picking anything up or like anything specific, just seeing the city.
I feel like Regna would ask Allie if we wanted to hang out.
She would excitedly agree to do that, yes.
Yeah, Griswold would continue reading his book, his like magic book, and probably just stay around the tavern, drinking and relaxing.
Alrighty. Signe, are you going to wager on any of your fights?
Are you going to do the pit fighting downtime activity?
How many nights has it been since we've been here? Because I would definitely keep putting finger bones in my new bone bowl.
How long did we say that was?
I think we're here for like at least.
No. How? What's the? How long does it take to get money from the bones?
It's like a bone a day.
I think it's like 3 bones for a day.
Yeah.
3 bones overnight, no looking, 3 gold pieces.
Yes, you've been here for like 21 days,
Oh, shoot, that's way longer than I thought.
so you probably would have run out of bones at some point. But
I don't know, I
uh,
cut off like everyone's fingers, dude.
yeah,
I
but
was rocking with a lot of bone.
well, we'll say then you get yourself. We'll just say you got 60 gold from your finger bones at this point.
Okay, let's see. I wrote down here I chopped off 465 finger bones.
Okay,
Because each
I
finger
mean-
has 3 bones apiece.
this is true.
Yeah.
That's still not the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
No, it's probably not.
Especially in this context.
No, just in any context.
So yeah,
I have to hop on the
with
calculator.
there is if you'd like to wager, there is a downtime activity of pit fighting.
If you want, I can front you some money if you want to wager it.
I mean, the rest of you could also bet on or against her.
No, I couldn't.
Do you know, as a show of good faith, Arvid would hand Signa a pouch of 80 gold to bet on herself.
That's okay. That had 63 gold from finger bones. So I would use that 63 gold to wager on my fights for the day.
I'd still hand it to you if that's Arvid betting on you.
Oh, I appreciate your enthusiasm, Arvid.
All right, so we have a couple days. So we'll say that you participate in, we'll say 4 different fights with various DCs. So you would do a weapon proficiency roll or an athletics check, whichever you feel like you would be more gooder at. Your first opponent will be your weakest as well, so probably a good bet.
Well, they're equal, so
So just do whatever. All right, so you kick that guy's ass handily.
four days worth of fights.
I would say that you actually would lose your second fight.
Mm.
With a 15 would not be enough to succeed. The other 3 you do quite well on.
Mm. Radical.
Hubris took you down in the second fight.
Too much showboating.
That's a heck of a stage name.
So
I want a recurring NPC named Hubris now.
we'll just have you, Rob. We'll have you just double your money. So, and same and because you bid on the first one or bet on the first one, so
Fair enough. That wasn't even his main funds. That was just the spare funds for the farm.
we'll say all told, Signe, if you were just bidding your 63, you'll end up with 190 gold total.
Woo!
That's including your loss.
Hell yeah. And of course, after battles, I'd like to take my sweet Aster for very energetic runs.
Which she'll also enjoy, terrorizing all of the people in the town with the giant direwolf. Well, not a giant direwolf, but the giant wolf. Small direwolf. So as you guys do all of that, nothing otherwise nothing really happens of particular interest. And you are able to charter your ship. It is actually a at the very least, it was designed to be like a merchant ship. Whether it is all legal goods that are following you along to Stormhaven seemingly is not in question. Pretty obvious that it isn't. But as you travel along, Allie will sit up on deck and play some music for people. Doesn't unfortunately lessen the cost that you have to pay to get there. But are there any discussions, any plans that you would like to make whilst you are on the Black Hollow Bay?
I mean, I feel our plan is relatively well formed at this point. We stop off in Stormhaven as long as we need to, and then travel to Vasselheim to meet your sister.
Well, I'm going to need a few days. Have to talk to someone, then head over to the farm. I have something I need to do.
Did you need
Sure.
help on the farm? Besides the Nexus, I don't have anything else I need to do in Stormhaven.
By all means, you're allowed to help on the farm. I won't be doing anything in particular on the farm. I'm basically going to be heading to the Nexus first so I can use the ability to talk to people. I need to talk to the Queen. And then, depending on what she says, I'll be doing something at the farm that's rather unique.
Could
Okay.
you perhaps be a little more specific with that?
Well, I could.
But you won't.
I can. Basically, I'm trying to set something up as a, shall we say, a precaution, and I'll require her help doing it. It's just, I'd need to talk to her first to see if it's to go ahead or not. So I can't really tell you I will be doing it until I have the conversation.
Well, that was highly illuminating.
Well, I try.
I'm gonna be staying in Stormhaven to check on Kelly.
Well, you're welcome out to the farm if you've got nothing better to do.
Yeah, I want to see what that soul-sucking scum is doing about here.
So yeah, we'll say that with the seas being a little bit rougher than anticipated, it takes you about 6 days. And likely there are a fair amount of storms in the general area, hence the name Stormhaven. But you do arrive safely back to the place that all began.
What time of day do we like land?
Probably mid-afternoon at this point.
Okay.
And I will say, even as you're approaching the docks, you immediately notice a significant presence of the Amaranthine Guard, which are the the cops of Stormhaven. Um, and I mean, they're not they've never been a strange sight. You would normally see them around. However, just in going into port, you see them, and it doesn't appear that they're like looking for something, and they just appear to be posted all over the place.
That's a bit concerning.
Oh.
I may not have spent much time in this city, but when I was here, that was not the norm.
No, it's not. Once we land, I'll go ask them and see what's up.
Well, we could always go visit Callie. She'll be able to. Well, I don't know if she could actually tell us anything with what's happened to her, but she could pass along information. She knows people.
And write it
Also
down.
said it wrong. It's the Amethyst Guard, and it's the Council of Amaranthine. Got my own notes wrong, but yes, Amethyst Guard, the Purple Guard, basically.
I bet anything the Sunstroms have something to do with this.
Me as well. But, Signe, don't pick a fight, okay?
She just kind of shiftily looks away.
I would say actually probably before. So while you were on the journey, Allie would have stopped Ragna at some point, sat next to her, whatever, and said, "Hey, do you think that like maybe once we get to Stormhaven, we could go shopping? Because I mean, you it seems like maybe it would be good if you had something else to wear besides armor all the time." No, I mean, you don't have to. I just thought, maybe something that was normal.
I do wear clothes under my armor, but I guess I could take my armor off sometimes.
I mean, just when we're walking around town, it's just kind of intimidating to have, I mean, maybe that's what you want. That maybe that's like to be intimidating, but I just it's uh, it's um it's very conspicuous and
Well,
shiny.
I guess I could. I mean, if we get attacked, that wouldn't be good to be out of armor, but I guess that's not that likely to happen in a city or a town.
Well, and it just seems that maybe you're attracting the type of people that would want to attack you when you're walking around in armor all the time. I mean, Signe
Oh,
also wants to she seems to attract people, but that's just different. That just seems to be her attitude. But
Pardon for eavesdropping, but I mean, you're not wrong. But here's the thing: is we kind of have a target on our backs here. We lived here for a while. We were part of the nobility, and they kind of wanted to fuck us over, and it seems like they succeeded.
it's, I mean, whatever you're comfortable with. I just, thought if you were trying to lay low, that walking around in shiny armor would not be helpful.
Ragna pulls out a traveling cloak from her pack and puts it on.
I completely agree with our newest acquaintance. Walking around ready for a fight is inviting a fight.
No. People will still pick a fight with you.
I can confidently say that I have not been in many fights in my entire life as I have been since walking around with you folks, carrying swords and wearing armor everywhere.
Oh, like that's our fault.
We've kind of just been running into trouble at this point.
Listen,
Uh,
if they weren't so weak-minded about Grandpa being a badass, this shit wouldn't have started.
But anyway, Allie, we could go shopping together.
Cool. I know some good. I mean, well, and then she kind of. I'm sure you probably know places better than me, but I have been to a few shops here that have some. And she sort of like blushly. Well, they have dresses. I don't know if that's.
You know, my
I think
sister
you're like.
was locked up in a temple for quite a long time. She hasn't been properly dress shopping in quite a while.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
that's true.
Well, I know a place.
Okay, after the Nexus, let's go.
Matt, Griswold is going to try to just break off from everyone. He's not even really going to say anything.
Okay.
Do. Yeah, and he's just he's going straight to the speakeasy.
Yep.
Yeah, you do whatever else first. I just wanted so you knew he was going there.
And is Arvid going to the farm straight away, or is he gonna stick around in Stormhaven?
No, he's going to be heading off to the Nexus first.
So everybody else is going to the Nexus. I assume that Callum's gonna go because he doesn't really have
Yeah.
anything else to do.
He has no reason to do. His main goal at this point is make sure none of the others take too long, and his main concern at this point is Arvid taking too long. So yes, he's going as well.
Yeah, I mean it's probably if he leaves now. I think we determined it takes about 2 days, so it's going to be about 4 days round trip for him, depending on how long it takes him to do whatever it is that he wants to do while he's there. But just travel time would be about 4 days.
Before they reach the Nexus, Ragnar would just go to one of the guard and just ask. I haven't been to Stormhaven in a while, and it seems there's lots of guard present. I was wondering if something occurred.
And sort of, you know, straightens himself up, said, "Oh, executor's orders." You have no idea you've never even heard that title before.
Oh, that's a new title. May I ask who they are?
He sort of like looks at you. How long you say you've been gone?
A while.
Couple
At
of
least 3
months.
weeks or months.
Yeah, it's been a while. Well, it's the former Viscount Tess. Sorry, Viscount Tess. She was elected executor and dismissed the council.
Oh, wow. Very big changes then.
So, who's the executor?
Yeah, that's Eileen Sundstrom is the executor.
Of course.
Ragnar would just glance at Signe to make sure she doesn't do anything. And she would just say, okay, thank you very much for your time.
And he's just sort of like, citizen? this guy looks like he's never been a guard in his life, and he's just sort of like, because obviously you can tell as well that there are probably more Amethyst Guard present than, I mean, certainly more than had ever actually worked for them previously. So they obviously have a lot of new hires.
correct me if I'm wrong, but the former Viscountess was no friend of your family, correct?
Oh, no, not at all. There was a lot of clash between the Sunstroms and the Lubenhelms.
And rumor has it she's heading off the dragon cult.
Yes.
Hmm. Well, we're going to be delayed no matter what, waiting for people to finish their own business. Perhaps it wouldn't hurt to look into that while we're here then.
I would definitely love your help with that.
Yes, I don't think us two asking about a Sunstrom would go over too well.
I want to know if her husband's even back in this city.
He's not. He was
Well,
at the
shit.
he was at the place you decided not to go.
Yeah, well, I was wondering if he made it back or if my suspicion that she murdered him was even close to being right.
So Eileen, prior to recently, really hadn't been seen in public for quite some time. So the conflicts between your families were mostly because of Edward, who is the one who is in the country estate. And Eileen has sort of just stepped up and now seemingly taken over the city. Um, but you guys probably, even as kids, you probably have only seen this woman maybe a dozen times in your life.
Yeah, she's a sly codger.
I see. Well, I suppose I can do a little digging around, though I'm not exactly the best for that job.
Oh, if anything, I made things worse when I poked around last time. Can't imagine why.
It would likely be a better fit for a. Where did Where did Griswold go?
Ragnar would just turn in circles and be like, "Oh,
His speakeasy, right?
Yes,
it said,
they went that way.
oh, okay, that is towards the speakeasy then. Yes, I guess he's there then."
Well, his lady friend was the one that was attacked, the one who ran it, so he's probably trying to check up on her if she's even there.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Hopefully, she's all right.
And as you guys are sort of walking, Allie will kind of stop and she's like, I don't really have any need to go to the Nexus, so I'm gonna go back to the Dragon's Breath Inn and just a couple people that I haven't seen in a while, and I'm just gonna go and say hi. So whenever you guys are done, if you just want to stop by and pick me up, and then we can do shopping or whatever.
Okay, we can do that.
Well, Dragon's Breath Inn you guys would be familiar with. That's actually the inn that you went to when you, like, in the first session when you met with the headmaster, who you're going to see now, I assume.
Yep.
Mr. Dresden. So you do the Nexus. The main part of the Nexus is it has guards, but they're not stopping people from going in. The Nexus is still open. It does have like a more of a public section where people can go in and look. There's like a public library. There's a private library, obviously, as well, but it is available for anyone to go into. So you do so in the. So obviously, again, this is the Nexus over here, and the headquarters of the guard is like right there. So you would definitely, as you walk by, notice the large increase in guardsmen concentrated from there. Making your way in, there is a secretary that you would have to stop and speak to if you want to meet with Dresden.
Hello? Could you help, please?
Oh yes. What can I do for you?
I was wondering if I could either speak to the headmaster or if I could use the you help someone help with the ability to speak with another from a different plane.
Well, um, there is a charge to do that, unfortunately. And uh, the the headmaster, I don't know if he has any appointments available. Could I let him know who is asking?
Let him know that it's Ragna, Signe, and our group. He would know us.
Well, just a moment. I'll see if he's available, and then I can check on the other thing for you as well.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I mean, if he doesn't have time for us, let him know that he's always got a place at a table for dinner.
He kind of does a little bow and then heads off. So you have a
Thank
couple
you.
minutes.
I wonder how much it costs to send messages to different planes.
I'm not too sure. I've never tried to, but if you need money lent, then I would, of course, be willing to lend.
I'm gonna guess it's a shiny copper, that's for sure.
Well, I've still actually got quite a bit, so I'd probably be able to afford it. It's just seems strange to charge, but different plane, different rules.
I assume there's some kind of material component necessary for it that would um, make the cost necessary as well as labor itself in weaving the spell.
I was going to say the labor and skill required to learn how to do that labor are likely most of the charge.
Eh,
Surely, just like you pay your workers on your farm, they would be paid for their services here.
oh no, I completely agree. I hope it's a reasonable one and not just, oh, the costs, the basic price is this much, but we just charge this much extra.
I actually have a spellcasting services list. I assume the most convenient way to do this, although actually not convenient, but the easiest way would be to hire somebody to cast the sending spell for you, um, which is a third level spell, which would cost you 90 gold. So it requires a fifth level spellcaster, which is not
Probably.
entirely advanced, but
Yeah, I'd probably have to upcast it, so maybe cost more or send more than one.
I don't think
So-
it gets any longer without casting, so just send more than one.
yeah. Where is there, and I don't know, maybe those of you that are good at playing wizards and maybe you have any idea, is there a better version of sending that any spell that you can send a message to somebody that is more than 25 words?
Not a good one. There are some, but they're like, yeah, sending is really your best bet a lot of the time.
It just feels kind of funny because you have message, which has the same limitations, and then you have sending, and it's like, well, but you would think it'd be better. I mean, obviously with sending you can do it from much further distances and including other planes of existence, which is a big deal, but still.
Yeah, we just need a spell for video call.
Yes. So she will come back. Yeah, Headmaster Dresden will be able to see you in about 45 minutes.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Nice. It's been a while since we've seen Uncle.
Yes, we'll just be in the public library, or at least I will be.
Great. And we can get you to one of our evocation wizards to cast the spell that you're looking for, or spells.
Perfect. Do you mind me asking, do they keep what they send private?
They do. There would be no if there's something that you want to have them say specifically, you can write it down, but then you would, of course, keep the document.
Right. Okay, that's fine, thank you. I'll
She'll
meet, I'll meet you all in the library.
Okay.
That sounds fair.
And this is when you go to even the public library here. I mean, this is as I've mentioned numerous times, this is the largest and most prestigious arcane college, certainly in Asilra, possibly in the age of Arcanum. Maybe outside of the flying cities that are over on the other side of the world right now. I actually do have them on the map. You just can't see where they are right now. So even the public library is more fantastic than just about any library you could go to. So if you're looking just to even read about things that would be seemingly helpful, like, oh, look, what is there on Narul? Well, there may be things even in the public library about him. There's not especially under Dresden himself. He's very strong in the belief that knowledge should not be hidden away whenever possible. If it's dangerous, okay, maybe, but still, he is a teacher at heart and wants everybody to know everything that they could possibly want to know, much to the dismay of some of his colleagues. Particularly the long-lived colleagues. So a lot of the elves do not appreciate this young human giving away secrets that shouldn't be known by the common folk.
Gasp. How dare he?
So yeah, you have about 45 minutes or so. If there is anything that you'd like to research, you can do that.
Yeah, Ragna will see if she can find anything on the Stitch Witch or the Eye of the Eye.
Yeah, the Eye of Os. I can never remember.
Okasus.
Yep. You would actually find something, not specifically about the Stitch Witch, but you would find something about the Eye. It is last known to have been on the continent of Marquette. It is not in Asilra. But you also the description of it is a bit vague. It also it seems to be that it's a portal of some kind, but it is believed to have been stolen and then buried or hidden somewhere out of harm's way. The information that you find about it, it makes it sound like this was done purposely. Um, as we were just mentioning, to keep it away from the common rabble. But you find another source as well that makes it sound like this was not necessarily done for the betterment of anybody. This was done for sinister purposes, to keep it in the hands of people that would use it in a bad way. So all the other information that you would find is that all of the anecdotes that you find are very old. So at least between 75 and 100 years ago that these events supposedly took place.
Oh, she would share what she learned with the others.
So you've got strange destinations all over the place. Now you had the Isle of Orchids, you had Tranta, and now you have somewhere in Marquette.
You know, since we're just sitting here anyway, Callum would look for more information on the Isle of Orchids.
Okay. I didn't have. I should have just for fun, but I didn't. So Callum, just do an investigation check for fun.
Yay, rolls for fun. Callum doesn't have a ton of fun.
Signe is going to look up for how to topple your political opponent.
Do an investigation check.
She's not going to find it.
Yeah, you don't find too many books about that particular subject.
If she has time, Ragna would also see if there's like anything extra on the Midori Sunstone side effects that they had missed previously.
Right. So I'm just pulling up some. I'm sorry, Callum, what were you looking up?
About the Isle of Orchids.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, we'll start there. So the Isle of Orchids, you do find surprisingly more than you even anticipated that you would find about it. There are a lot of it that you find seems to be books of fiction, stories about it. There are like you even find a few like fairy tales that appear to be for children about it. It's always described in every source that you find as being a very mystical place, being a very old place with old magic, and that at certain times of year it almost appears to almost seems to disappear into the mist, and that you have stories of sailors crashing into it by accident or completely not being able to find it. um, that's most of what you find. There's not, surprisingly, there isn't a whole lot of um, descriptions of it. It's more about the mystery of it, and it gets its name because there are supposedly magical orchids that grow all over the island, and they are attributed to a princess that had requested a specific type of orchid um, be brought to her as part of a uh, prove that you love me type of thing. And one of her suitors apparently did what she asked, and she turned him down. And so he went to this island and planted all of these these orchids um, and cursed them.
Interesting. Okay.
But again, the geography is not really described too well. From what you can gather and from what you like just know of the general. Um, I mean, there doesn't appear to be any settlements there. Like nobody lives on the Isle of Orchids.
Really? Now that is interesting.
That's the common story. You also, outside of your books, have heard things as well about a certain group of people who live there, but there's no town that you would go to that has a name. Like you don't go
Okay.
to Williamsburg. There's
That
no
was definitely more of what Callum was looking for, was like
yeah.
cultural information. So that's good to know.
But you have heard rumors of some people being there or from there or operating from there, but it has no known city. And then, what was the other thing that Ragna was going to look up?
If there's anything she can find on
Oh.
the side effects of the Midori Subzone.
What you do find seems to reiterate most of what you had read before about people going mad, people becoming obsessed with things. And really it's the obsession that drives people mad, essentially. Zabilna had mentioned that she appeared to be aging rapidly, but you don't find anything specifically about that.
And she would also be pretty worried.
Yeah, so you get confirmation of what you'd already known, but not confirmation or even a notice of what Zabilna said.
Mm-hmm.
Arvid,
Yes.
what would you like to say, and who would you like to say it to?
Well, I'll be saying it to Queen Titania. And I messaged you, like, the outline of what I say, so, what, 2 or 3 messages worth?
She agrees to the creation of the thing that you want to create, and she is actually going to send Sir Televar to assist in that process.
Oh, interesting. Very well. So how many sendings do you think that would have taken?
To get a clear sort of idea, probably 3.
Okay, yeah, I can cover that. Let me just get a calculator out, because sometimes I turn stupid. I know it's 270, I just need to subtract that from what I've got.
You could probably, they'll give you a discount. You could do it for 250.
Okay, fair
Since
enough.
you're doing it all at once. And also, you would be able to, I hope you wrote it down because I didn't, but you'd be able to make some rolls to make some of your money back from the farm as well. Because it's been enough time that the farm would have continued making money. So.
Yeah, because I think it was a 1d3 for income, a 1d2 for expenditure, but because I did the plant growth, the 6 months, I think I double my profit.
Yield.
Yeah. So, I'll roll just 2d3 or just 1d3 times 2.
Whichever you want, it doesn't matter.
It literally did not matter.
It really didn't. So I made 200.
Yep. So nearly covered that, but. So, yeah, and almost precisely 45 minutes later, the attendant comes in and gets you all and escorts you to Dresden's office. And Callum, have you met him before?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I don't think you were with them when they came to the Nexus, but you did meet him when he was at the estate, Leuvenhelm estate, because you were there when she was.
Yeah, he was also present for when we got back with the Sunstone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So you enter into these massive sort of oak doors, double doors that's open inward. And for those of you that have been in his office before and recall the original description that I gave of it being a very, very large room it's longer than it is wide, and his desk is like on the far end. And every time that you have ever been in this place, it was always kind of a disaster. There were like uh, experiments that were half done, and there's like books all over the place, and just multiple different desks with all kinds of different things on them. And when you enter in, it's almost shocking how absolutely pristine and clean this place is. There are no books scattered about. The tabletops are all uh, cleaned off or organized very cleanly. Um, and the one main feature you notice that stands out, and it would actually probably even catch Callum's attention, even though he hasn't been in this office before, sort of off to the side of his desk, there is this massive mirror. It's got a very intricately designed golden frame around it, but this thing is probably 8.5, 9 feet tall, and maybe 6, 7 feet wide. Um, and it's sort of like leaning up against a bookshelf, so it doesn't really look like it's not necessarily there as a display piece, but it's certainly eye-catching and new. And as you enter in, you have this it's almost like a hallway to get to his desk. You can see him sitting at his desk at the far end, and he just kind of looks up at you and kind of waves you towards him.
Yep. Ragna would walk forward and just say, "For the weekend, Dresden, are you doing okay?"
And oh yeah, I'm fine. Just very busy. And as you guys are walking towards him, you can see that he's continuing to write whatever it was that he was doing before you arrived.
So busy you haven't been able to do your experiments recently?
Oh well, nothing has caught my eye recently. And I'll say too, do a perception check, everybody. Um, Arvid in particular, all of you notice um, that he does look. The last time you saw him, he was very haggard and tired looking, and you do see that he does look like he has recovered quite a bit. Um, he no longer looks like he's about to keel over. Um, but Arvid, you notice that he seems I don't know how to say, different in a way. Like even the timbre of his voice is a little bit different. It's a little bit brighter. Um, it just kind of catches your eye because again, like every time, and it could just be again that like he is just when you talked to him before, he was just so worn down from everything that was happening to him, and now he's sort of fully recovered. But his speech pattern and the timbre of his voice just strikes you, nobody else, but it strikes you as a little bit different than what you remembered him sounding like, I guess.
Interesting.
And how is your daughter doing?
You can see that his expression turns a little bit darker when you say that. Um, well, she's still with her mother. I haven't spoken to her recently.
Well, we did hear something concerning from my sister, but I assume you know what we know already. That's not something I wish to pursue further, considering Rhea does not.
He just kind of nods. Well, please take a seat. I'm assume that again that's not why you're here. So what is it that I can do for you?
I just wanted to visit and see how you were, and also, well, we did hear about the new executor.
Yeah. Interesting times we live in.
So, what has that savage woman inflicted on you, Uncle?
Oh, well, surprisingly, not much. She's actually given me a bit more freedom to make decisions about the school than I had before. Well, I mean, as I assume if you're heard about her, you understand that the council has been dissolved, and they tended to get involved in some of the decisions about what we do, and she has eliminated that. So I can't entirely complain, but at the same time, it's also um, put a little bit more responsibility on my shoulders.
Can't help but feel like she thinks if you have the freedom to run the place as you will, all the burden of the college will sit on your head and make you slightly more blind to her ongoings. But that's not necessarily bad either.
Well, truth be told, I try to stay out of the politics of the city and focus mainly on the school and my students, so I will
Oh,
do
I
my
know.
best,
You're
whatever
very
comes.
prudent.
But I know that you've had troubles with the family in the past, but I don't really have any negative things to say about her.
Well, the closest we've got is a few rumors set up where she's head of the dragon cult, so
Well, I wouldn't put too much faith into those types of rumors. I've also heard rumors that she's a dragon herself, born with dragon blood, all of those things, just to try to tear somebody down and make her seem scarier
well,
than she
yeah,
actually
I,
is.
I doubt that. Nah, just some letters we picked off of some other cultists have implied it, so
Well, I would probably keep those to yourself whilst you're in the city.
there's a lot of things we should keep to ourselves when in the city. Thinking of which, you haven't heard from Dad, have you?
And you get a little bit of a twitch in his eye when you mention Marcus, and he says, I've uh, not heard from him in quite some time. I did hear rumors of expeditions into the Faded Grove and going up to Blackrise, but not. I haven't spoken to him.
I still can't figure out what on earth he's thinking.
To be fair, from what I've heard of your father, that seems to be the norm.
He's definitely a action first, think about things second type of person.
Yeah. She just kind of reaches back and rubs her neck and, looks at the ground. Kind of fondly, but also just kind of like, I might be guilty of that too.
Well,
Since we're in
what
town, is there anything we can do for you?
I think I have everything I need, but it, what is it that you're doing back here?
Has anything good happened to you recently?
Well, as I mentioned, I have been given a lot more leeway, and that's not. Well, I will say that it's a welcome change for sure.
It's just you seem different, even in the way you speak.
I don't really know how to account for that, but
It's as if you're speaking lighter than usual. That's why I ask.
he seems like uh, uncomfortable at the questioning, but he's like, "Oh, well, I don't Not entirely sure how to respond to that, but as I mentioned, I've been quite busy and things have changed for the better for the most part.
Fair enough. I was just curious. It's so I know a lot was happening the last couple of times we met. I'm just trying to point out that well, that's why I said had something good happened recently, due to the lighter nature in your voice.
Well, I suppose that's a good thing if I seem happier.
Very much so.
I'm just glad to see you're doing so much better.
Yes. So while you're here, is I assume? I mean, do you have a place to stay? I mean, obviously your estate is no longer available.
Oh yeah.
Um, yes, we were just gonna stay at the inn.
We're just
Um,
passing through again, unfortunately, but
Well,
any sort of. Sorry, go ahead.
well, they're also allowed, if they wish to, come to the farm. That's like 2 days outside of uh, Stormhaven, because something special is going to be happening, which not everyone gets to see.
I'm still confused about that, but as long as I'm allowed to watch, then
Yeah.
I would like to be there.
You'll be allowed. Don't worry.
Well, seems you have all of that taken care of. Um, was there anything else that I could do for you?
I suppose there's just one question I have is, um, do you know anything else about the side effects of the sunstone besides the typical obsession and subsequent insanity?
Well, I haven't done any additional research on it, really. Um, not really much that I could add. I mean, I suppose Katarina is still here, and you could potentially ask her to look into it further, although I think she's probably investigated it as much as anyone.
Yes, I believe so. I was just curious, but that's all right.
And he sort of like looks at you though. Is it, um, uh, I noticed you have a something on your face,
Yes.
and he kind of just puts his hands up. Well, I will not pry.
Ragna will kind of stare at him. Um, and for the first time ever, Ragna will attempt an insight check to see if she senses something weird with Dresden, because Dresden should know about the mark on her cheek already. Can she go ahead?
Yeah, go for it. You get the feeling that there's something weird is going on with him. Yeah. In addition to Arvid's probing questions earlier, it's like it's you recognize him and everything. There's just like a little, just like something is askew about him.
Well, I was just curious. What have you been working on recently? As long as you have the time, I mean, it's nice to spend time with you,
Oh
Uncle
well,
Dresden.
nothing of any particular interest, unfortunately. Just a lot of administrative things. Having to take over for the things that the council used to do. They used to, in particular, focus on the budget, and well, I'm not an accountant, so it's a bit tedious to have to do all of those numbers. But eventually, I'll hand it off to somebody else. But I, just figured it at the beginning I should at least set a precedent of how things should go.
Yes, that does make sense. And it seems like you're keeping your office tidier than usual. I do approve.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm a little bit tired of walking in and feeling like there was things that I had left undone. So sweep it under the rug, out of sight, out of mind, and it helps a little bit to not feel like you're staring at failures all day.
And the mirror is new.
Oh, yeah, a gift. Um,
I have been noticing that. It's a bit out of
it's a
place.
it's a bit gaudy, I will certainly admit. I don't really have a place for it, and as I mentioned, um, a gift and one that I didn't want to turn down or offend. And if said person happens to visit, I would like it to be visible. So,
Could I go up and look at the mirror?
yeah.
And Ragnar would just ask, who gave it to you?
Oh well, it's uh, the new executor.
Interesting. I suppose it matches her style.
Well, again, just in case she shows up, it seemed apropos to have it in the office.
Um, I'm going to inspect the mirror. Does it help if I cast Detect Magic?
You can't cast any magic here in the Nexus.
Oh, okay. Well, can I inspect the mirror?
You can inspect the mirror, yes. You can do an investigation check on it.
With advantage.
And Ragnar is gonna just grab for, I guess, Signay's shirt and kind of hug slightly and give a little frown.
That's just fucking impressive.
It is impressive to double ones.
It's a mirror.
It is a mirror. It is very gaudy. It is very intricately the gold around the golden frame is very intricately designed. I would say one of the only thing that you would notice in particular about the mirror, and this, I mean, since we're in the age of Arcanum, it may not be exact because this is a little different than you would consider like sort of a general medieval type of setting. But when you think of like a medieval mirror, they're not flat mirrors that we would have today, right? There's a little bit of a wave to them, kind of like not exactly like a funhouse mirror, but they're not a perfect mirror that you would go to Home Depot and buy right now, right? And you notice a little bit of that, and even with a one, that's what you would notice is that the mirror in the Age of Arcanum, you would expect it to be a mirror that we today would be used to seeing, where it's a 100% clear, perfect mirror. But considering the gaudiness and what you would assume that this is the frame in particular would be quite expensive, and of course a mirror this size would be expensive as well. The craftsmanship of the mirror itself is not to the level that the frame is, which would be what you would discover just by looking at it.
Well, I'd probably just like tap on the frame, then tap on the mirror.
Yeah. It appears to be real gold.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Real gold, real mirror.
That's fine.
Well, since Ragnar pulled on my top, I want to look her in the eye and do kind of like a, when you're like, you want to leave and you do that weird head tilt, except do it towards Dresden. It'd be like, well, do you want me to conk him or,
Ragnar will just widen her eyes very slightly, give a slight deeper frown, and then just look back at Dresden and say, would you like to have dinner with us? We were going to go to the Dragon's Flame, was it?
Dragon's breath.
Dragon's Breath. We were going to go to the Dragon's Breath again for food and such to recuperate before we head off to the farm. We could have food together, like
Oh,
before.
well, I do actually have a engagement this evening, so I will have to decline. But if you would like to do so upon your return from the farm, maybe we could arrange something.
Yes, that would be great.
That's good.
Also, I just looked at it. It's not the Dragon's Breath, even though they called it that the entire time. It was originally called the Dragon Fire Tavern, because I'm an idiot and I just make stuff up without looking at my notes.
It's a
So
dragon breath.
Yeah, it is the Dragon's Fire Breath. It's the Dragon Fire Tavern Inn, whatever. Actually, I take it back. So it was the Dragon Fire Tavern that you went to before, and I believe I had mentioned it at the time that it was just a tavern and not an inn. Well, the tavern or the inn that's above it or next to it is called the Dragon's Breath. The Dragon Fire and the Dragon's Breath. They're two different places. Why not?
Then I suppose that's all I had to ask. It would be great to have a meal with you when we return.
Well, yeah, I'm not exactly sure what my schedule will be, so please let my assistant know as soon as you return so that we can try and set something up.
Of course.
I'm looking forward to it. Gotta get some meat on your bones. I don't know. What do you think? A whole stuck boar? I think that'd be pretty good.
We can make it a feast.
Shoot, I'll even hunt it.
I'm not sure if well, actually, you can probably sell your catch to the tavern.
All right, see you soon then.
He stands up and just kind of does a little bit of a bow and kind of like just gestures for you to leave. He's not gonna walk you out because it's a long walk.
That's okay. I pick him up like in a great big bear hug. Why are you being so shy for? Come on. And spin him around and then put him back down.
He would appear to be very uncomfortable with that entire exchange, which would probably not seem weird that he was uncomfortable by that.
All right, see you soon.
Hi, Uncle.
As soon as we leave the room.
Shh, nope. Wait until we leave.
Okay, once we've left the building.
Yes.
Make sure we're off premises.
Okay, once we've left premises.
Well, you know,
There
there's
we
like
go.
We gotta get out of town, man.
Yeah.
Once we leave Asilra.
I'll just say to the group, well, who noticed?
I did.
I think it's pretty obvious.
What's
Something's
obvious?
really wrong.
Either he's gone through something that's completely changed him, that's not him, or something took his place.
Or the executor is spying on him.
Oh, that could be it too, for sure.
You could tell something was different from the way he spoke. He has a different timbre.
Well, that place has never been clean like that, ever. He
Mm-mm.
loves unfinished work.
I was very unhappy that it was clean, even though I said that it was good that it was clean.
Yeah, no, that's weird.
So yet another close relation of your family mysteriously changed while you're away.
I don't like it.
Yeah. I mean, he's more of a family friend, but he's always been close enough to be an uncle figure, so to say.
Mhm.
But holy hells. That
I
was
hope-
uncomfortable.
Yes, I hope having him out of the Nexus and speaking to us at a meal or dinner at the tavern will help with things. Hopefully.
Yeah,
And
hopefully.
yes, it's too bad that he couldn't have a meal with us today, but at least when we are back from the farm, hopefully we'll be able.
Yeah. I guess we're gonna have to start paying close attention to spies around here, huh?
I wonder if we can ask Griswold to ask his associates to look out for him or learn more about the city and what's going on.
You think that we can find any magical doohickeys here that reveal like identities or something? You know, so you can look at someone and make sure they aren't using illusion magic or see like invisible people.
Yeah.
I feel like there's spells that do that.
Yes, I've got those type of spells.
Yeah, that'd be handy.
Yeah.
But to do them, the person I would do it against would clearly see it as some form of hostile action.
I suppose we can wait and see what he says during dinner, and if he still seems off, then do it.
Alright, just letting you know that if you do stuff like that, it can tend to burn bridges.
Well, I mean, I'd hate to burn another bridge, especially when we haven't done anything that provocative, but.
I'm just worried about him.
Well, yeah, me too.
And you would know. I mean, obviously, it wouldn't have surprised you, Arvid. I mean, because you could tell as soon as you probably walked onto the premises of the Nexus that there is essentially an anti-magical field in most areas of this. I mean, obviously, you would in areas that they were going to be teaching, you know, magic would be allowed, but in his office and that type of thing it would not be. But also, I mean, you know, this man is an archmage and one of the most powerful wizards in the world. So there's at your level, there probably aren't a whole lot of spells that you're going to be able to cast that he's not going to be aware of.
Yeah. Like I said, I've got Moonbeam, which would technically show if he's a something else, and I've got Dispel Magic, but so it's not really fantastic spells.
I don't know. I just want to make sure, like, you know, if he's being pestered by something other than that Sunstrom bitch, or, you know, something sent by that Sunstrom bitch, he's covered.
It seems to me a question of which do you value more, your relationship with him or his safety? Because you risk one to ensure the other.
Ah.
I would say his safety.
Well, for now, considering we can't really do too much about it, let's head to the tavern, have some to eat, and then you've got your date with our waiting friend.
I haven't worn a dress in so long.
Griswold at the Silver Cat.
Mm-hmm.
So you make your way in there. You have your, you know, secret knock, handshake, whatever it is that you need to get in. And as soon as you walk in the door, you can see that Callista is actually where she always is, which is behind the bar. And the second that she sees you, she like nearly leaps over the bar, and not unexpectedly to you, she starts using thieves can't sign language essentially, because you were not anticipating that she was going to be able to speak to you. And if you've ever read anything about thieves can't, you know that thieves can't, even if you're speaking it, and probably even longer if you're signing it, it makes mention that it takes 4 times as long to say something in thieves can't as it does if you just said it. So you're paying close attention to her, and she doesn't really have a lot to say other than she's still here. Run.
I just look at her. I say, in the building or city?
City.
then I will. I'll just say lock up. You're coming with me.
She waves you off, like, which again doesn't surprise you either. Is that she doesn't leave this place.
All right, he goes. So Grizzle, then I'm bringing my friends here, and he's gonna turn to walk out the door.
Okay.
Right, yeah. So I will. Did I hear where they said they were gonna be going, or did I
No.
leave before that?
You left immediately. So
Yeah. All right then. So I know they don't have their home anymore. So
and
I will.
you knew they were going to the Nexus. You did know that, but you didn't
Okay.
know where they were going.
Then I don't know where I am in comparison to that, but I will head there. And just keep an eye out in case I see them like on the way or anything like that, because I don't think my trip was nearly as long as theirs.
I can't remember. I thought we had established that like the Silver Cat was like in the southern, like somewhere down here or something.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm saying my like stop, like I was kind of like in and out of the place.
Right, yeah, you would have been for sure.
So I would just make my way towards the Nexus, and hope I saw them either there or leaving there, and if not, I would just talk to someone at the front.
I'm trying to think of the timeline. You may actually end up getting there before they leave because they had to sit there for 45 minutes as well.
I imagine he would.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure because I mean this is a pretty big city. But if you just walked in there, got the notice from Callista, and then just went directly to you may be waiting outside for them when they walk out.
So yeah, I'll say I went up to the lady in the front and asked if anyone matching that description had been there, and if she told me they're inside, I would just go back and sit out waiting for them.
Yeah. So yeah, as you guys exit, and we'll say that you could have had that conversation before you met up with Griswold, but he's there.
Oh, hello.
He has his cloak all the way up, very very sketchy looking, just like he's clearly trying to make sure people can't see who he is, and he'll just kind of nod everyone like this way and go into like a little alley or something.
Is your friend okay?
Yes. She told me I have to leave, and I asked her to come with me. She said no, and I kind of just like squint my eyes a little bit. And I just say she's still here.
Regna's eyes will widen, and she's gonna immediately throw off. I don't think it'll actually catch anything, but find sense.
It's not. You wouldn't get anything. The person that you're looking for is not a fiend.
Yep, that's what I figured.
She's a tiefling, so she wouldn't set any of that off.
So he'll kind of I want to get more information out of her, but she seemed rather nervous, and it seemed like maybe her place was being watched. So I said I would go get everyone else and go back, but I want to get more information. I want to know what she's disguised as. I want to know how long ago. I want to know if she knows anything else, but I didn't want to be sitting there in case it was being watched.
Yes. I think we can go back. We just have to go grab Allie so she's not waiting for us.
The safest place for us would be out at the farm.
She will not leave her home. She won't. We could go there after, but I want to get the information first.
Then let's make haste.
I would say that you probably have other ways within the city to make contact with her through other people or through messages via the Thieves' Cant and the operatives that work for her that you wouldn't necessarily have to go back. It would obviously it would take longer for you to get the response that way, but
Yeah.
I mean the whole point is that the place is supposed to be hidden. So the idea being that you don't want to have people just going in and out of this place all the time, draws attention, right? So there would be ways that you could communicate to her through proxies, I guess. It just takes a bit longer, obviously.
Well, then when Arvid says that, I'll kind of, I can have messages sent to her, but we might be in the city a bit longer if that's so, if no one else minds.
That's fine by me. If the person is still here in this city, then with what I'm about to do at the farm, that's going to be the safest place we can be at, because I have a guest turning up who's no slouch in his fairy self.
Yeah, I was more thinking, if she's here, I want to kill her.
If that's the case, leave note to where you're going.
Well, we're gonna have to set up a trap, and we're gonna pay attention to the new routes these new guards here are gonna take.
Or I mean,
Certainly.
really, she's looking for Griswold, so we just have to.
Yeah, but we also gotta find out whether or not she has an entrenched identity here, because people are gonna know if she goes missing, theoretically.
I suppose that's true.
We're gonna do a little espionage ourselves.
Well, I know the people who work at the farm, so if someone strange suddenly turns up who's not someone we know, kinda gives it away.
I'm pretty sure she could look however she wants. She could find, if she already knows where I was going, she probably knows the people I was traveling with. She probably already knows about your farm. She is going to be prepared, I think.
And you would, and I was a Griswold, you would know enough about the methods of these people that she wouldn't have created an identity and stayed that person. Like if she was, you know what I mean? Like she would have changed who she was basically constantly, so that nobody would recognize her as one thing and then see the same person. You know what I mean?
And I will relay that and say I don't think we have to worry about her having friends or anything here. She doesn't tend to stay as one person for too long.
And in a city this large, it's pretty easy to keep yourself anonymous.
Well,
which
that's
is good
good.
for you guys as well in this particular case, but
Well, I'm ready to do whatever you need, Griswold. And if you could also, in your message to your associates, ask them to keep an eye on the Nexus in Dresden, I would appreciate it. He seems to be acting strange.
Oh, he is absolutely fucked. You know that mess of an office? Oh, he's got that all cleaned up. He says he hates unfinished work. He's got a fucking gift from that Sunstrom bitch. It's the head of the family now. She's taken over the city. Just, oh my god, you wouldn't believe it.
Well, doesn't seem like much is going good here right now. But I want to at least get information before we decide where else we're gonna go. So, Matt, where would I know of, like, an area I could go to find people that would be like okay with relaying messages to and from me and her? Like, is there
so
like perhaps
basically,
like a tavern or something near her that I could go meet someone?
really, what it would be is that there would be essentially like secret drop boxes all over the city.
Okay.
That you can leave a message, and then they would have like people that periodically go through and collect those.
All right. I'm gonna write down just on a note real quick. I'm just gonna write about what did she look like? How long ago was it? Do you have any leads to where she's been staying? Um, and then I will give a sheet of paper to Ragna, and to Ragna and whoever else was at the office, and just write down anything you're worried about, and I will ask her to have someone keep an eye on him.
Okay, thank you. And Regna will put their concerns.
Hey, don't forget this.
Oh yes, of course.
And oh god, they taught you how to spell that way in Temple? No one uses that.
It's old common, it's fine.
Oh man. What other weird shit did they teach you?
I mean, we spell this word like this.
Oh man, you only ever find that spelling in history books.
I mean, it's fine. The point comes across regardless.
I mean, yeah, like it's legible.
So number 6 on the map, this is also the place that Ragna would need to avoid, because that's the Temple of Arathis right there.
Yep.
All right. So I'm assuming most of these places are like the drop boxes are like kind of more likely in like the shadier, slummy areas.
Nope, they're all over the place.
Okay.
And you know, it's things that would be to the layperson very inconspicuous. So there would be like, you know, just a crack in a brick wall that just looks like a crack in a brick wall. But if you know what you're looking for, it's a place that you put, you know, a note.
Okay. So I'll kind of look to when we're both done. I'll kind of, all right. Well, we're gonna go drop these off. Where should I tell her that she could send word to? To your farm or to the tavern?
I think that's up to you. Where do you think we should be? You're the expert on this.
I think we maybe have a few hours, maybe a bit longer, until she knows that I'm back in the city.
Then it's best to draw that out to where she can then slink back to.
It's true. Then it'll just take a lot longer to get the information to the farm, but sure. So I'm gonna just give the like the location of where she could send her responses to. And I'm gonna look at everyone else and say, all right, well, we got to take a bit of a walk. We have a drop box to put this in. Well, actually, I think we should split it up into 2 different ones just in case one gets found. And I will lead us to whichever 2 are kind of like on the way if we're going back to the tavern.
Yep.
I won't put them in myself. I will give them actually to Callum and just say, well, as you said, people wearing armor and with weapons usually stick out. Would you mind putting this? And I'll just point over to like like how you were talking about. There's a little crack. It's gonna just be one like in the floor that kind of is like a little bit next to a sewer.
I can certainly do that. An odd place to leave a message. I am intrigued, but it's a question for another time. Callum will just do it.
And when you sort of, it kind of almost like if you ever like put a piece of paper into like a shredder, it kind of feels like that. Where like when you push it down there and it feels like something is kind of like almost like it's gripping it a little bit, and then it sort of slowly gets pulled out of your hand. It's not being shredded, but you know, it's just that sort of like sensation.
You're buying a Coca-Cola.
Yes. Yeah, kind of like putting money into a vending machine, a bill into a vending machine. A little bit slower than that, but you get the impression that it's going into a secure place. You're not actually just throwing it down into the sewer.
Right. Very odd. All right. And once it's done, Callum's just going to join back up with Griswold and continue on our merry way.
All right. Well, I guess to the tavern for Allie, and then we can come up with when we're gonna head to the farm. And Griswold once again just throws his cloak all the way up, and tries to like make sure any identifying anything is covered. Like so he won't let his hair show. He tries to keep his face shrouded. Like make sure none of his armor or clothes are showing.
All right. Um, let's go ahead and then just take our quick little bio break, grab a drink, and then feed your pets, and we
Sounds
will
good.
pick up at the tavern.
Sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
Anybody, any of you Americans doing anything for 4th of July?
Crying over Rover's Wade.
My cousin usually has a big old party. I'll be going to that.
We'll be out camping.
Tomorrow is Canada Day. I'm going hiking.
Nice.
Yeah.
You
I'm probably gonna do what I
sportsy
do every
people.
day, and I'm gonna sit around and play video games. Actually,
Ayo.
I might work on our the other campaign that I'm working on. Because you thought that this Discord had a lot of information on it. You should see the one that I'm making right now. I'm going way overboard.
Always a lot more when you gotta put your own information in.
Yeah, but I really enjoy doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect any of you all to actually sit down and read all of it, but only enough.
Read it all. Got it.
Only enough, at least, for character creation and stuff like that. But I'm going way beyond what I probably have ever done. But it's so much fun to do world building. I don't know. It's probably my favorite part about being a DM, honestly. I actually like it more than running the game, which is, weird, I guess.
No, building your own world is pretty fun.
Yeah, not an uncommon sentiment.
Yeah, I suppose that's true, but it's one of those, where you always get excited about it, and then you have nobody to tell because, like, nobody cares. Nobody besides you cares at all. But that's similar even with just, like, sometimes you create a character that you really like, and you want to, like, oh man, I did this, and, like, nobody outside of the game that you're playing cares at all. Might as well just be speaking gibberish to them.
Yep.
But yeah, it's definitely going to be, it's going to be different, and I'm purposely trying to make it different. In fact, I'm also going to use all different music, so there's going to be no more Witcher music, which I play in every single game. In fact, the song that's playing right now is from The Witcher, and I'm going to try and stay more, because I tend, as you all are perfectly aware, I tend to move out of the immersion, so we're like in the game, and then I'll say something that has nothing to, like, I'll just stop and like, oh yeah, unrelated to the game, let me talk about something, something else, whatever. So, like, I'm going to try and stay away from that as well, so that we can just stay immersed in the game, and then we can talk about whatever before or after the game, rather than that, like what we're doing right now, in fact. But kind of waiting for Rob to unmute. I don't know if he's me or if he's. But yeah, I want to try and put together a more immersive game without the fourth wall breaking. We'll
That's
see.
me.
So while we're waiting on Rob, I would say, Griswold, you have a feeling it might take. I mean, it's going to probably take at minimum 24 hours before you would get any sort of a response with the way that this works, because, I mean, these messages are not picked up constantly.
Well, and if we're going to be leaving, they're going to have to find us either on the way to the farm or just leave it for us at the farm.
Yeah. So.
I mean, unless they can get there faster than us, then.
I would assume they probably could if it's just one person delivering a message.
Yep. So that's certainly a possibility. So you were just going to go to the tavern in Dragon's Breath, Dragon's Fire to get Allie first?
Yep.
And I obviously I can't keep an eye out for a look of a person, so I'm just going to kind of try to keep an eye out for if we're catching anyone's attention. Like if anyone takes like extra notice of us, I want to try to just see if I can like catch it.
I can do a perception check. I assume what is everybody else doing? Like, do you have hoods up? Are you attempting to try and make yourselves look inconspicuous? Because of course, everybody walking around with their faces covered actually is more conspicuous.
I was going to say Callum is doing nothing different and therefore is inconspicuous.
Yes.
Regna had put on her traveler's cloak, so she still has that over her.
Yeah, no, just brazenly walking about as usual.
With the 6, don't
I'm
notice.
sure I see everything.
You do kind of. I would say that with the 6 though, you notice that people are seemingly sort of minding their own business, and as you're just walking along, more than anything, you just see like on basically every street corner, you see Amethyst guards standing there.
Are there any of them that are doing anything, or is it all kind of just taking watch? Like,
You
is there
can
any
see
that
that
are
they're
like bothering people, like saying, "What are you doing here?" or anything like that?
nope, they're all pretty much standing in place, but you do notice that I mean they're not just um, staring straight ahead. I mean they are watching people, um, but they're not moving or harassing anybody.
Well, then when we're walking, whoever is closest to me, whether it be, I mean, probably Callum, I'll just say, "Did you ever find out what's going on with the guard, the extra presence?"
Nothing beyond that it's the work of the new woman in charge here, the former Viscountess.
All right. Well, neither of those things are good.
Apparently, she's dismissed the council that was in charge here and has taken charge herself. She's also given the head of the Mages Assembly here a bit more leeway, seemingly. Possibly attributed to his odd behavior.
All right. Well, hopefully, when the information comes, we'll have something to know about him as well, if there's any weirdness to that or strangeness to that relationship.
Just
Nothing,
walking to
we
the
waited
tavern.
for you.
Yeah, we're just walking to the tavern at this point, so you didn't really miss anything.
Ah, fair enough.
So you do make it to the dragon place, whatever it's called, breath, fire, whatever. And inside you do see Allie. She's not performing, but she's sitting up at the bar, and she's got something, a package with her.
Ragnar would just move up to Allie and be like, Allie, we're here, but I'm not sure we're going to stay too long into the city.
And she sort of smiles and she's like, I've been with you all for a while now, and I kind of figured that was the case. So I went ahead and got this, and she hands you the package.
Oh, thank you.
And
Yeah,
okay,
it's a dress.
yeah, um, yeah.
And Ragnar would just smile at Allie and say, "Oh, I will try it on when we're at the farm. I don't want to get it dirty through traveling."
Sure. And you can tell that it's kind of heavy. I mean, you imagine that because this essentially we are in Misuthar is the name of February in Exandria. So it's the middle of February at this point. So you wouldn't be running around in a sundress at this point. It's not like freezing cold, but it's still pretty cold outside. So you can tell that whatever it is, it's got a little bit of weight to it. So obviously that you could wear it and not be freezing cold. So we're going to Arvid's farm.
Yes, we had some troubling news. The one after.
We can talk about it once we're on our way.
Yes,
Oh,
we'll
okay.
talk about it more later.
And she sort of says her goodbyes to the people that she'd come here to meet, and then she kind of like straightens up her clothes, and she's like, all right, well, I'm ready.
Okay. And Ragnar would head back to the group.
When you're over talking to her, I'm gonna look at you, Arvid, and I'm gonna just say, "So you're sure you are okay with her tracking us to your farm.
With what I'm about to do there, if she comes and what I'm doing is successful, know that she'll be fighting us in my domain.
Oh, whoa, what?
I'll explain more once we've left the city.
I was
I
more.
don't need more of an explanation. I just want to know what kind of new rules are going to be imposed.
I was just more worried about the people who work there not knowing what might be coming.
Collateral damage is a concern, but it's also a concern here.
I generally, the facilities for the staff are not directly on the farm, just slightly off it. So they're a little safer if she comes directly to us.
Seems like that would be a good way to sneak in. Take one of them, take their identity. That's my worry.
Well, there's concerns in every plan.
Would you be able to perhaps send them back to the city for a week while you are renovating or something, just to make any innocent lives not be there?
I could. That shouldn't be a problem. I'll give them a little extra pay to tide them over.
All right. Well, then that would make me feel better. Wouldn't have to worry about your workers being put at risk because of me.
Well, luckily for me, the workers are from the less fortunate side of town, so the more money I give them, the better off they'll be.
Right. Well, then right. I'm gonna go up to the barkeeper and just not like over loudly saying anything, but just kind of right, sir. Some friends think I might be staying here. If I have any mail or anything sent, can you please have it forwarded, and I'll tell them where Arvis Farm is. Anything that comes to William Vale would be going there,
Sure, no problem.
and I'll put down a gold apiece on the table and just walk back to the group and just say, "Well, that'll hit her ears soon enough."
Well, we should probably rent out some horses to cover as much distance as possible.
Well, maybe even a carriage. That way you could send your workers back all together.
Seems fair. Let's get to the stables and get that hired out.
Let's go.
And as you guys are walking, to everybody else, Allie sounds like she's like speaking gibberish, and like she's like rhyming and like saying all these weird words. But Griswold, you recognize that she's actually speaking thieves' cant to you, and says, "Let me know if I can help."
He'll just look at her, nod, and just say, respond back in the same kind of thing, and just well, if you were scared of that, wait, she wasn't the one who came down in the crypt with us, right? That was the other woman, the
Yeah,
one
that
who
was,
like
yeah,
was
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
and it just. Oh,
Allie's never gone anywhere with you
yeah.
guys.
I don't know how good you are at taking care of yourself, but just keep eyes out. Very dangerous people.
She just nods.
So yeah, I'll probably pay for 2 horses and a carriage.
Well, they actually, I mean, remember too, like, so outside the city here, they have, like caravans. They're like people stay out there, so you could just hire somebody. You don't have to. You can just hire somebody to take you there if you want. You
Yeah,
don't have to worry about the horses and stuff.
to take us there and to bring people back.
Yeah, so it's basically just like an Uber.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll,
hell yeah.
I'll pay for I'm paying for an Uber basically. Okay.
Yep.
Just make sure you leave them a 5-star review.
Yes.
What was that? I don't know what you mean.
It's a thing in the Feywild, don't worry about it.
Yeah, so it's like 50 miles.
Yeah, so how much would you like to charge me for the Uber?
Gristwald knows Arvid probably won't accept, but he will offer to split it with him.
Need to know the cost first.
Round trip, we'll say it's just 10 gold.
Yeah, I'll happily sort that one out.
Which in D&D terms is actually quite a bit of money, but you know how it plays out. You know, people end up with way too much money. So
Especially
Alright,
if you convince the GM to let you own a business.
yeah, that too.
Matt, on our way out, can I stop at like a general store and get some sort of like, just pick up some supplies that I could use to make like, traps and alarms, that type of stuff? Like caltrops and then maybe like a bell on a string to if a door opens or something like that.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know how much it would cost. I would probably try to get enough for like, maybe 4 or 5 different spots where I could do it. So like
Pretty
I'll
sure that
drop a
stuff's
couple gold.
in the player's handbook.
Oh,
Actually,
is it?
like caltrops are and stuff.
I know caltrops are. I just didn't know.
Bell and string comes with a thieves pack.
I mean, if you just want to say a couple gold, it's fine. Like whatever.
I was gonna say
mean,
I'll put like 3 gold off.
I don't care enough to actually go in and do the research for that kind of stuff. It's not that big of a deal to me.
Okay. All right. Then yeah, I will just bring it all and put it in a pouch and put it in my bag.
By the way, how long did it take for the boat trip and us to start leaving the city?
About 7.5 days.
Yeah, something like that.
Perfect. Because I'd like to continue placing finger bones.
Yep.
But yeah, once we've left the city and come to our first nightfall, I'd probably inform the group of what's happening.
Okay.
So away from the caravan. So I've been in contact with Queen Titania, and Sir Talva is heading to the farm.
Dragon?
Yes, the dragon.
A fairy dragon.
Yeah, still a dragon. I'm going to perform a ritual there to... Callum, you said you spent time with the druids, correct?
Correct.
So you know what a druid's grove is, give or take.
Yes, more or less.
I'm going to do that, but the actual ritual is called a Fey grove. It's a kind of a combination of a druid's grove and a portal to the Feywild.
Do you believe this will be beneficial?
I have my reasons of why it will be. I won't go into why, but there's no ill content with what I'm doing. It's just something I feel that needs to be done. And to do it, I'll be obviously requiring Sir Telepath's help. And I'm going to be sacrificing something of great potential.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, we picked it up in a cave on our trip down, if you remember.
The egg?
The egg. There's not many things in a lot of the realms that have more potential than a dragon's egg.
And when you say sacrifice, you do mean that literally?
Yes, I'm basically going to take the potential of that dragon, who will no longer be, and use it as the magic to form this place. this isn't going to be a place you can just find or stumble upon. Unless you know how to access it, or you're shown how to access it, you could walk right by it without seeing it. But with so many places becoming less hospitable to all of us, and, well, in general, this is the best I can offer as a true safe haven.
I mean, I'm basically a butcher, so I'm down for this.
And that's what I meant by she'll be coming into my domain. It's kind of a place of, well, mine, but I'll be taking care of it on and off, well, while I'm on this plane.
Sounds good to me.
I suppose it's a moot point at this point to express my discontent with this plan. I'm not sure any place will be fully safe, frankly.
Well, unless you know how to enter it, you won't find it. But that's why I decided to try and get us there a little faster. If we can get the ritual completed before she catches up, that will give us a significant advantage.
It seems like a good plan to me.
So while I'm preparing the ritual and performing it, I'll require all of you to, well, keep an eye around the farm and the lands to just make sure we're not interrupted.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, you got the right muscle for that.
But like I said, I tend to not hide what I'm doing. It's just hard to explain to you all the specifics of what I'm doing.
As I am opposed, it's not my choice to make.
Sorry, you were a little low there, bud.
Yeah, you're getting a
Sorry.
little low.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Much as I am opposed, it's not my decision to make. So, I suppose the only question is when do we get started
Well,
and how long it will take.
take time, but I'm hopeful we have enough time. And I do appreciate the fact that you have your objections. I can't say I understand all of your motivations, but I appreciate that you have a differing opinion.
As long as you all are considering it thoroughly, I suppose that's a good start.
Well, does anyone else have any questions about what's happening? If not, for now, I'll make sure our rest tonight is peaceful, and we should arrive tomorrow to send off the workers.
I'm probably gonna be sleeping once we get to your farm. I'm gonna be keeping an eye out tonight.
It's been a while. Everybody wants to take watches.
Oh no, Griswold will not be sleeping even if other people are taking watch.
You're gonna get a point of exhaustion by doing it, but
Yep.
you also have Allie to participate, even though she does not have dark vision, so her participation is limited.
Well, luckily, I'll just throw up the half of Moonlight and Shadow.
Callum will certainly take a watch.
Oh, yeah, I'll totally take a watch.
And I would say for Signa, you also could benefit with Aster, because she can see in the dark, so she
Heck
can
yeah.
assist in watching, smelling all the things that she does.
Aster, want to smell all the smelly smells?
She's keen hearing and smell, so she gets the
Yeah, and
advantage on her perception.
I can pretty much take 2 watches because elf, haha.
And if Johan was here, he wouldn't have to sleep at all because he's a robot.
He'd still have to trance, basically, but yeah.
So, however you want to do it, go ahead and do your perception rolls.
Just remember these rolls have a +5.
I'm just gonna be doing mine for the entire night. I'm gonna probably do shit anyway. Yeah.
Just very distracted.
Mm-hmm. Every little snap of a twig or little sound, he just snaps his head and looks at it.
26.
He gets an 18. Well, a 23, I guess, if the dog gets it too.
Yep, we get a +5 on stealth and we get a +5 on perception. It's just allies within the dome.
Even with my +5, I still rolled lower than everyone else aside from Adley.
Nope, that wasn't Allie, that was Ragna.
Oh, okay.
Because she's BRB, so I just rolled for her.
Oh, true.
Now she's back. I
Oh.
rolled a bad perception for you. I rolled
Okay.
you a 2.
That's
I rolled
okay.
Well, I guess with his +5, you rolled your advantage. So you rolled a 7. Let me actually roll for Allie here. Where did I put her character sheet? That's more important. There she is.
Yeah, it's such a good ability for actually hiking out or just camping. Hey, let's just hide under this thing where people can't see us.
Her passive perception was higher than her roll, so
I mean, so was Callum's, so.
true. Yeah, and I mean, I tend to take that because it doesn't make sense that you can. I mean, I guess the idea being that you could be distracted.
Yeah, it
But-
definitely makes sense for my guy right now.
but I feel like
completely.
in most cases, passive perception, I would take that the higher of the rolls, really, in most instances.
Well, my passive is a 17 anyway.
Yeah, so unless there's extenuating circumstances, like in Griswold's case, where obviously he's distracted anyway. But I mean, you guys have high scores for the most part anyway, so. And Allie's passive perception is 15, but I rolled a 3, so. But you don't notice anything like stalking around. It's mostly quiet. I would say for the most part, you're probably still. You probably actually just got off the road recently. Um, so I mean, if you're going up the road here and then you break off across, um, you're probably near the river here,
Hmm.
which is a peaceful place to rest, listening to the river. But um, aside from a few animals coming up to get drinks from said river, that's it. Um, but because I had that chart up, so Arvid, if you want to, they give a charge if people want to use your druidic passage or your Fey passage. They have the price that you can charge people as 355 gold to use your portal. So make sure that you charge your party members that before they go through.
Well, I'll keep that in mind.
It's funny though. This thing has like they try to equate it to real life money, and they say that 90 gold is equivalent to $10,000.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I'd believe that.
They're equating 1 gold equaling $100, and 1 copper equaling $1. So really 90 should be more like $9,000, but whatever. Anyway, continuing on your journey to Arvid's farm the next day, also uneventful. This is a relatively safe area of Isilra. The travel between these general areas is pretty standard, pretty simple.
So what time would we arrive there, like on the next day?
With the caravan and the fact that you actually are cutting across land rather than going around via the road, it's probably getting into early evening when you get there.
Okay.
And at this time of year, it's probably getting dark.
Griswold will kind of, Arvid, do you want to have them stay and leave in the morning?
And I'll ask no word, because let them decide.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, where will we be staying?
Well-
he kind of like pats the little pouch, or takes a little pouch out of his bag and says, I just want to set up a few things just in case someone tries sneaking up.
Well, there's a main house that's we could all probably camp in, so if we got to start setting up over there.
He'll just nod and make his way.
And I'll head over to the workers, or to the dorm.
I don't really know how many people you have working here now.
Yeah,
10,
neither do
15?
I. We never really went that far.
Yeah, probably 15 or so people I would say work here. And the carriage driver would be willing to leave this evening. Obviously, they wouldn't make it all the way back to Stormhaven. They could take the south road down. There are likely some roadside inns that they could stay going this way and then across.
Yeah, then I'll probably suggest that. And I'll pay the workers for paid vacation for the next week.
They will obviously accept that.
100%.
Probably not often that workers get vacation time, so.
Hey, I'm a good boss. So, if we're going about 15 people, what? 2 free gold a piece? Considering that gold is actually a shit ton of money.
I don't know what the it's where is it? Because I can't remember how much you're paying Allie would be what you would be paying them because they are. Although I don't know, maybe like Shane, do you know like are farmhands considered skilled workers or non-skilled workers?
I don't think so.
I would
I could be
imagine they're
wrong.
not because it's mostly manual labor.
Yeah, I would. If there was going to be any job in a D&D game that was considered non-skilled labor, I would assume it's farm work.
Yeah, I'm just gonna jump into the PHP quickly.
Trying to find it too. Expenses, I believe, is where it is. I actually think is in the compendium on Roll20.
Hirelings. Untrained would be 2 silver pieces a day.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd just give them a gold each. For... No, I'll give them like 3 gold each.
15 days. Fair enough.
There you go. They will happily hop in the Uber and head out,
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
praising the weird-eyed elf who pays them. Did you get your eye color back? I don't remember.
No, I'm still...
No.
I still initially had black eyes, it's just now I have black eyes with white, yeah,
irises. Yeah.
which kind of sounds cool.
So they gather up their stuff. Takes them, 15, 20 minutes to grab all their things that they need for a week, and head out.
I'll wave them off, Good boss. Bye.
And as you guys are like settling down, I suppose. Allie will just be like doing card tricks in the corner somewhere.
Regna would go off to whatever room Arvid would say she would be using and change into her dress.
Which is probably very elaborate for a farm. But yes, still better than armor.
And she would smile at Allie and be like, "Thank you, it's lovely."
And she would smile back and, just kind of nod at you. She seems to be getting a little bit less awkward than she was before. A little bit, anyway. But she's doing like magic tricks with cards and including like her mage hand and stuff. So like weird sleight of hand things. See, I imagine that you would have probably seen her do that before. It might be kind of a nervous sort of thing that she does.
Well, considering I'm going to head out to try and set up my meeting with Sir Talvar and the correct location to start. If you want to get set up here and make sure you get some rest, especially you, Griswold. There's no point of being exhausted for what's to come.
Rest is likely a good idea.
And make sure he gets it, even if you have to knock him out.
That we do agree.
I'm just ready for a rejuvenating fight.
I'm sure that'll come shortly.
Well, until the fight comes, I've put personal stock over there if you wish to partake.
Well, I mean, really, the question is whether or not I'm actually going to be allowed to fight, or oh no, you can't hit that. Like life or something.
Well, as long as you don't hit Satalavar, I don't really care.
Ayo.
I feel as
Ali
if
will
that was
definitely
directed at me.
Oh, I mean, if the shoe fits.
He doesn't wear shoes.
Don't.
All I'm saying is when it comes to fights, y'all never let me have fun.
You can fight all you want. I just strongly prefer that you not kill anyone. It's just going to make our job harder later.
Oh, but it's always Signe, don't pick a fight. Signe, don't fight
Oh,
that.
you can fight whoever you want. I don't care. Just don't kill them, please.
No promises on this one.
In this particular case, it seems an exception, maybe. Especially
Yes.
if this creature is fiendish in nature. Whether or not you send them back to their original plane seems unlikely to have any effect on larger endeavors.
Hey, if I send her back to the hell she came from, it means I get to fight her twice.
That's a way to look at it. Arvin,
Yes.
this ritual will be taking place tomorrow then?
Well, in reality, it'll be taking place as soon as I get in contact with Satalavar. That's why I'm heading out now.
See.
If he doesn't turn up till the morning, I won't start till the morning, but I'm just gonna walk around, see if he's heard about hiding. I'll take you from there.
In that case, I think I would like to join you if that's all right.
I appreciate it, but you're probably best to rest and keep an eye on Griswold.
I agree that someone needs to keep an eye on Griswold. But if you're going to engage in this ritual, I would like to be present.
I'm not doing the ritual right now, and when I am, we'll probably all be present.
All right. I will take your word for that.
Yeah.
Griswold, I don't know. This is probably information that you would, I assume, pass along to the others. But I mean, you have seen, so the person that you are looking for or hoping to draw out, Nethiri, you've seen her capabilities. You've seen her fight. So you know a little bit about her, and the two main things that I think that you would probably be wanting to share, everybody, and I made mention this before. She uses a magical infernal chain as a weapon, which she can use to grapple people from very, very long distances. From, we'll say, from magical distances, more than any actual real normal chain would be able to do. Additionally, she is a spellcaster. She can cast spells, and some of them are extremely powerful, including essentially being able to cast plane shift almost at will on people. That's how she captures people and sends them to the hells. That's her job. So she's very, very dangerous in that regard. For anyone who's not familiar with the plane shift spell, this is not. I'm not saying that this. I don't really consider what she's doing that spell, but an unwilling person plane shifted has to make a charisma saving throw. So it's you wouldn't obviously explain it in those terms, but you would be able to tell them that it's possible to resist her magic, but it's difficult. And she often has henchmen along with her. And that's how you were captured, essentially, was by her and her cronies. And in addition to just being her, being able to cast spells, she's very, very, very fast. Granted powers by her masters. She is not a normal tiefling by any stretch.
Yeah. Anything that I think I could remember that would be helpful, I will add to it. At least anything possible.
So obviously, just being able to know not exactly her tactics, but some of the things to be aware of, so that you all can attempt to prepare in some way, shape, or other. Obviously, any fire resistance. Her chain does tend to set things on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't. Do I just pour a canteen on myself? How do I deal with that?
Don't let it happen in the first place.
You're no fun.
But Arvid, you would find that Sir Talavar is outside. He was just hanging out, hiding to avoid the workers.
I figured you'd be here already.
I don't remember any of I know I don't give people voices, but I don't really remember exactly the personality of Sir Talavar, other than that he is a knightly sort of man. Says, it's good to see you, Arvid, and assuming Callum's out there with him, possibly just tagging along.
No, I got told to stay and that he
Okay.
wouldn't do anything without me. So Callum stayed. He's trusting Arvid.
So yeah, Talavar is it's great to see you again.
It's great to see you again, old friend.
The Queen asked me to present this to you as a token of her appreciation for your work in Prismere. And he hands you this. It's a scroll case, essentially. It's a very ornate scroll case. It has like the symbol of the summer court on it. And he just sort of like pats it a little bit. He said, in case of emergencies.
I thank you very much for delivering it, and obviously the Queen has my eternal gratitude.
And I will say, without you don't have to do any rolls or anything like that. You know what this is, and it looks like it's a scroll case, but it doesn't actually contain a scroll. This is it's like it's like a hearthstone. It's in Dark Souls. It's a homeward bone. Essentially, what you do is you take the cap off of the scroll case, and it will then teleport you to the summer court.
Well, shit.
It does have the potential to take others as well, but you would basically have to all be. I mean, I think plane shift is like this too. You have to all be holding. You don't have to be holding hands, but you will have to be touching. Like, so as long as like everybody is like in a
That's
line.
plane shift.
Yeah, so there you go. It's not like it's a circle or of holding hands and that type of thing. But as long as you're all touching each other, it should work. You're not entirely sure how many people it would work on. It's generally, these types of items are only used for the person holding them.
Well, that's quite the gift just bestowed.
Well, aside from the portal that you're building here, of course, it is sometimes difficult to make your way back to the summer court. I wish I had something like that when I was in Prismere myself.
Well, didn't we both?
So, and he sort of claps his hands and like rubs them together, like, "Shall we get started?"
Are you ready to start now?
Oh, I don't see why not.
Well, very well, I'll inform the others and they can stand guard while we get started. If you would like to find a spot which is best suited.
Oh, I've already picked out a spot over yonder, and kind of points to the little copse of trees over there.
Fantastic. Well, I'll meet you there then. I'll go get the others. And I'll head to the house and I'll knock on the door.
Ayo.
Well, you said you didn't want to miss out, Callum. Let's go, everyone.
All
Oh.
right.
And I'll lead him to where Sir Dalavar is waiting.
Can I just say that they've made a Sir Talavar plushie?
So far, the best dragon.
I mean, who doesn't like a dragon with a mustache?
I mean, I certainly enjoy a dragon with a mustache.
So yeah, for those of you that don't have dark vision, it's pretty dark outside at this point. But Sir Talavar does not seem to be affected by it.
I mean, I'll cast light on something so people have a bit of light.
Thank you.
No worries.
Who has the dragon egg currently?
I believe it's in the bag of holding.
Yeah, I'll probably retrieve it from the bag from Johan.
Who's still in Zenambra? Because
Oh.
we didn't take him.
Well, we've got the bag then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll remove the egg from the bag and I'll hand the bag to whomever wishes to take it.
If you wouldn't mind, before you start, could I see the egg?
Wish to see the egg?
Yes.
Any particular reason?
You're going to sacrifice it for this ritual, yes?
Sacrifice is one word for it. It's not actually going to die. So you don't have to worry about Nazul. It's just we're sacrificing its potential. It doesn't live. We're just taking the energy it would have through its life and using that.
I'm not sure I understand the distinction there.
Again, I don't hide things, but it's hard to explain.
It's not dead, it's just gonna be a loser.
Like, have you had eggs before?
I try to avoid it.
But you understand the concept of an egg that hatches into a chicken and an egg to be consumed, correct?
Yes.
This is an egg to be consumed, not an egg to hatch.
You're certain of that?
Certain enough that the Queen of the Feywild sent one of her knights to also assist in this ritual, yes.
If it is all the same, I would like to see the egg.
Sure, you can inspect the egg, just don't break it, please.
Of course not.
Insight check. Don't
I mean,
I'd be more worried that you
He's-
run
he's-
off to attempt to become a single father.
I was going to say, yeah, regardless of what you get for insight, Callum's being honest.
I know, it's just 25.
Yeah, he's being honest. He's not going to break it.
Yeah, I'll hand you the egg to look at.
Callum will take it, and he will take roughly a minute and say the same prayer he has said over every single person that you guys have killed so far while he's been around. And then he will give it back to you.
Very well. So you can all watch, just also obviously keep an eye out for obvious reasons.
Okay.
I'll
Right.
take the egg over to Satalva. Shall we begin, old friend?
He just nods at you, gets like a real serious look on his face, and starts the process.
And for the next however long it takes, we shall be going through the process of forming basically a gate to the Feywild.
I would say it's probably going to take about 8 to 10 hours to complete it.
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
a lot of you will probably end up getting pretty sleepy.
I mean, 'cause it's kind of like when I used to plant growths, you have to spend like 8 hours concentrating on just pure magic.
And it would take longer if you were attempting to do something like this by yourself, but since it's two Fey creatures together, the time is lessened a little bit. I would say that, like, as you guys are sort of like standing around and stuff, Allie would go over to Ragna, and she would do that thing where, you like walk too close to somebody, and then you're like, oh, look, my hand accidentally brushed against yours, and she does that, and then once she does that, she actually like grabs a hold of your hand kind of tightly, and then just doesn't let go and just holds your hand.
Ragna doesn't pull away.
And you can see that she probably, you can see almost like a bit of relief when you don't like resist, I guess. That's not a good word to say, but she just kind of like, and you, it's like a big relief of like, okay, I'm good now.
One of those, I haven't been making a complete fool of myself.
Yes. And it's probably one of those things too, like when you're a little kid and like you're like 12 or whatever, like, oh, I have a girlfriend or whatever, and you like hold their hand way too long, and then your hand starts sweating, but you don't want to let go because you don't want to be like, oh, well, then they'll think that I'm mad at them or something. Just still the awkwardness of these two people who obviously are not good at any sort of relationship. But I would imagine that the process in and of itself is actually an interesting thing to look at, and might even be somewhat pretty to look at from the magic that would be cast to make this happen.
Well, I mean, to be fair, how many people, let alone like mortals, get to see the construction of a gate to the Feywild?
Yeah. So Griswold might find it interesting from a magical perspective, trying to learn it. I mean, obviously it would be pretty high level stuff, but still pretty cool to see. For everybody else that doesn't really care as far as the magical side, it's kind of pretty. But yeah, while this is happening, because again, those of you that are not participating really, which is pretty much everybody but Arvid, is there anything that you want to do? Anything that you want to talk about? Anything that you want to? Because I'm not going to make you roll for like. I'm just going to tell you that no one's going to come up and try to attack you while this is happening. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have asked her to keep a patrol with me, and as we go around, I'd like to eventually notice that Ragnar.
I do it all the time. I mix the two names up.
No, I just combine them into Ragnar.
Yeah, right.
That Ragnar's holding hands and be like, gross, you're being cute.
It's probably a little bit weird too, because how tall is Ragna?
She is, I think, 5'8". Let me
Okay, so
see.
it's not as bad as I thought it would be.
Yeah, she's 5'8".
Yeah. Okay. So because Allie's like 5'2", so her arm would be a little bit higher up to hold your hand, but it's not totally weird because I was thinking that you were more like 6 feet tall. But it's still, yeah. I mean, you can see that in the sort of the dark light, there's probably a fire going for you guys as well because it is still a little bit cold, but it does look a little bit funny that she's 6 inches shorter than Ragna.
No, it's good. Just picking on you.
Ragnar will just give like a shy little smile.
Griswold's going to be devastated once he's not panicked.
I cannot hear you. I heard you say Griswold, but that was it.
Yep.
But I think you said you were gonna keep an eye on him so that he doesn't freak
Oh.
out.
Oh, you were seriously, you just couldn't hear me. Okay.
Yeah, we really couldn't hear you.
Okay. Callan just commented, Griswold's going to be devastated once he's not panicked.
I missed the end. Devastated that you what?
He's going to be devastated once he's not panicked.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you'll even notice right now. Definitely not.
So after that 8 to 10 hours, it would be at this point quite early in the morning, probably a few hours before sunrise even. It would be complete. And Talivar and Arvid both would probably be pretty tired and worn out because this would take a lot of energy, a lot of concentration, a lot of magical ability to make this happen. But it is successful, and once I can't talk. Once it is successful, you actually wouldn't even know it because you can't see it. It just completely blends in to the trees.
Well, it seems we're successful, old friend. Would you care to take a rest with us before heading off to your next duty?
Well, I think I'll just go back to the Feywild. This place makes me itchy.
I understand the feeling.
Oh, that's just the pollen.
Well, I don't enjoy it. And he'll actually pull out one of the exact same things that he just gave you, what appears to be the scroll case, and sort of looks at everybody and says, "Well, friends, till next time."
Nice seeing
Hi.
you again. Thanks for the help.
And he will pop the top of that, and there's not really, what's interesting is there's not a whole lot of like magical effect. He almost just kind of like looks like he blinks out of existence.
Arvid just falls back lying down.
Do you need help getting back to your room?
Yeah, I got ya.
No, I can walk. It's just
Not too late. You're scooped.
it's quite draining having to focus on that amount of magic for such a amount of time.
But it's done. And you are now in Sickney's arms, so win-win.
Sure? Well,
Yeah,
I
you
would
haven't
imagine
eaten
this
all
one-
this time. You need food.
Allie's probably leaning on Ragnar's shoulder, completely asleep.
well,
She probably fell asleep a while ago.
Oh, I can come back and grab her too.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'm strong enough. And Ragnar will gently lift Allie.
Yeah, she's pretty light.
well, we should all get some rest now that the ritual's done. We can prepare after sleep.
Fair enough.
So, if you guys want, you could do essentially a semi short rest. So maybe 2 or 3 hours, and then head out because we know that obviously Griswold is in a hurry to get back. And during this time, you have not received any sort of messages
Okay.
either. So
And now we certainly won't.
um, no. So okay, never mind. Griswold, you would still have a point of exhaustion because I don't think you've
Mhm.
had any.
Nope, there has been no rest yet.
Yeah. But I'm not going to require that you all get a long rest at this point because it's not really a full day exactly. So if you want to just, like I said, just take like essentially like an hour or two, maybe 3, just to get a little bit more rest, and then head out when the sun is up, so that you're also not leaving at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, we'll
Unless you
take a
choose to.
nap.
So, is there anything that you want to do at the farm before you head back to Stormhaven?
I would like to keep watch while everyone else sleeps.
All right, you can do a perception with Aster. I mean, you and Aster, not just with Aster. So I would say Aster doesn't smell or hear anything to your. She doesn't alarm or doesn't try and get your attention. But I would say in the direction of the coast, um, it does look like there is a very big storm on the horizon. You probably can't see. I mean, well, I would say not probably, but you definitely can't see Stormhaven from where you are. But in the distance, coming towards you, there is the sky is very, very dark.
Well, that ain't good, girl. At least not for our traveling.
But aside from the weather, you don't notice anything.
Yep. All right. I suppose let's take out any ponchos or waterproof blankets for the ride, huh?
Well, I assume people are waking up now.
Yeah, and so you have 2 choices at this point. You can go on foot, or you would have. I mean, at the farm, you would have um, workhorses, and obviously you would have carts to carry your goods, so you could take them as well, or you could just go on foot, whichever you prefer.
Well, how I see it is we can either wait another day or 2 at most to see if she actually comes here to find you, or do we head back now?
Well, not to be a sassy pants, but there's quite literally a storm on the horizon.
Is it a bad storm that's coming?
I mean, it's pretty dark.
The idea of if we go back to the city, I'm going to be looking for her. So it's if we want to try to bring her to us, or if we want to go find her.
Well, I don't think it would be good to attack her in the city.
If that's the case, should we set up here for at least one more day if you wish to set up 1 or 2 traps, Griswold? And see if
I
she
don't have
comes.
anything that will actually trap her. It's more along the lines of giving a warning if she's coming.
Same thing if if we want to spend the day to see if she comes. If she doesn't, we can then, if it's what you want, we can go hunting.
Right. Well, yeah. Then I should be having the message coming soon anyway. So maybe if she's not here by the time the message is here, we just head back.
Will the message be able to reach us here now?
That's a good question. Arvid, would the message be able to reach us here?
We're still in the prime material realm, so yes.
Like a physical message, someone could come drop something off here?
Yes. Unless you go to where the portal was made, you're fine.
So yeah, if you guys want to spend the time, preparing, setting up traps, I would say later in the day, you would actually get a message. There would be essentially a courier, who would show up.
Right.
So let's see. Of all the things that you ask, what did she look like? You would get a two-part answer. So when she first appeared, her she had a hood up, and Callista couldn't see her face. But after Callista was basically taken, she saw what she actually looks like, which is just a red skinned tiefling with big old scary looking horns. I don't remember the other things.
I asked if there were any leads on where she was in the city.
So best that Callista could tell in researching after the fact, she was taken to where she was interrogated. Essentially, she was taken to a abandoned warehouse. She knows that she was in a warehouse, but she couldn't pinpoint where exactly it was because she never got to see like the exterior. And you would be familiar as well, whether by means of magic or simply just putting a bag over someone's head. Nithiri's not gonna make
Let
it
her know
obvious
where she brought her.
Right.
And then the only other thing I was asking was, I also asked how long ago the attack happened. I remember how long ago, I was told about it, but I didn't know if that's when it happened.
It was probably maybe a week or so before you found out about it.
All right. And if there was, the only other thing was like, has she heard of any alias that might have been used or anything like that?
She's not heard anything about that.
And then I think Tara had the other stuff for what they were worried about.
Yeah, she just had wrote in the letter to keep an eye on Dresden if possible, to make sure he's okay because he was acting strange, and to see if perhaps he's being spied on or influenced by the executor.
They would have put somebody on watch essentially, but they wouldn't have had enough time to notice anything as of yet.
Then I will fill them in whenever everyone's together in the morning. I'll just, I got message. Not much more information about Nefiri, but as far as Dresden goes, they have assigned someone to keep watch on him.
That's good, thank you.
I'm not sure when she'll be coming. I just know that when she has a target, she usually doesn't waste time.
I don't mean to sound rude, but given this method of communication hallucinations certainly are odd fellows.
You're really quiet again for me.
God damn it!
It sounds like your microphone is just across the room.
It's literally I'm wearing a headset.
Yeah.
It's just something I just unplug it and plug it back in, and it seems to fix it.
Yeah, you're fading out again. I think
Yeah,
it's
it's weird
time I
'cause
get this new headset.
yeah, it's like fades in. It's like when you redo it, like the first words that you say sound good, and then it's like you're just walking away from your microphone as you're
Yeah.
talking.
It wasn't important anyway. Just move on.
I will say this as well. I mean, what you know of Netheri, and even what you just said, I would say the more that you think about it, the more unlikely it may seem that she would come after you here because she's not stupid. If she knows that you're here, she wouldn't put herself in that position.
Maybe
She
more
would.
something
She
along the
would.
lines of watch until we leave.
Well, just more of like, she's. I mean, she didn't get to where she is by being dumb, so she's not going to walk into a trap,
Yeah.
and she's going to appear when you don't. I guess the way, either she will appear when you least expect it, or you will walk into her trap,
Okay. Fair enough.
whether by choice or by accident.
Okay. I'll let everyone know that. I'm just gonna say, um, it's been a couple of days, and since she's not here, it kind of makes me think I was right in the first. Uh, at first, I don't think that she would. This wouldn't be a surprise to her. She would have already known what this place is and probably why we were coming here. And I don't think she'll be showing herself until she sees it as an opportune time for her.
Then we have no reason to delay.
I agree with that.
Well, let's go walk into a trap then.
All right. So, which was the method? Were we taking horses? Although I'll put it this way: the horses that you have are not. I mean, they're workhorses. So, on a cart with this horse pulling you, or on foot, I imagine you guys could probably cover the ground faster on foot. Honestly.
Yeah, probably leave the horses here with enough feed to tide them over for the staff to get back.
Because aside from really Ragna, you're all pretty agile and pretty quick moving people. I mean, obviously Callum and Signe are real fast.
Griswold too.
Yeah, I mean, and with
Ragnar
if
would
she's,
get.
if Ragna's not Ragna, I just did it. I said Ragna. So if Ragna is not wearing her armor, she can probably do a pretty good job of keeping up as well. Because Allie's quick also.
I was just about to say Ragna swaps back to her armor.
You can bring up the rear if you choose to. Obviously, it would also tire you out a little bit more trying to keep up while wearing your armor.
Yep, she would be okay with that.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at this, and with Aster, I mean, you're all, aside from the paladin, you're all pretty quick. Because, I mean, Arvid could turn into a horse, and you could ride him, I guess.
I mean, sure. That'll be 2 hours worth of travel.
Is it only 2 hours right now?
No, it's an hour per wild shape, isn't it?
It's half your character level per wild shape.
Oh, then
Of
it'll be
hours.
6 hours then.
Well, regardless, you guys can cover pretty good ground as a group overall. So you can get there, I would say, in a little less than 2 days, and because if you're really huffing it, 50 miles really isn't that far.
Right? That works for me.
Yeah, let
So-
Griswold take point on this one.
So, yeah, we'll just because we are getting close to the end of our game this evening, we'll have you guys pop up in Stormhaven. It's probably, I would say, around noon by the time that you get here. If there was anything that you guys wanted to discuss playing on your way here, obviously you would have time to do that. Allie mentions that she has a couple of people that she thinks that she can talk to that might be able to give ideas because all of you know that most of the warehouses are in the docks, but she has some contacts that might be able to narrow it down a little bit. So she's going to go talk to them once you get here.
I'd ask her, would she require some funds to help that process?
They're not those kind of friends. They're actual friends and not. I said contacts, more like friends, I should say. But it would just be okay. So she offers you that. Is where should we meet up?
Go
Is
to-
the Dragonfire Tavern okay, do you think?
And she looks at Griswold. Is there any place that would be less conspicuous? I know we don't want to go to the Silver Cat, but like, are there any other like safe houses or anything that we could go to?
Can I just think back of my time, being in the shadier areas of like, anywhere that I've hidden out when necessary?
Yeah, you would
Yes.
have you would have some ideas of places to go.
I'll say I'll try to do my best to make it somewhere near the docks, maybe within like a 5 to 10 minute walk of the docks.
Okay.
Whether it be like an old abandoned tavern or whatever,
There are probably some like tunnels and stuff that are abandoned that are like underneath the arena here.
Okay.
That you would go to.
All right. Then yeah, I would let her know there.
And she's like, "Well, are you all gonna head there now, or do I meet you there?"
Well, you have been traveling with us for quite some time now, so you may also be on the radar. Are you sure you're okay going alone?
Oh, that's fine. I'm just. It shouldn't take me long.
It wouldn't take someone else long to find you and harm you either. So I, I'm not trying to scare you. I just want you to at least know this is not your typical kind of someone looking for you.
Oh, well, I can do this, and she sort of just. I don't even know what I don't have in front of me. She casts invisibility on herself.
Okay. All right. He'll just nod and just all right. Well, if you're sure, I don't want to be sending you somewhere without you being fully aware of the actual danger. And I kind of like put my hand out to see if she's still in front of me or if she just left.
You kind of like hit her in the hit her in the side of the head.
Okay.
An eyelash encased in gum arabica. So it does have somatic. So she would have done something with her hands.
Mhm.
And
Okay. But yeah, he's just trying to stress like the whole if you get fucked up, it's not on me. I warned you.
so but she's still talking. So are we? Is there a time that we should meet up, or are you guys going there now?
Um, Signe and Ragnar, do you guys have any desire to try to find out any information on this new woman in power, or would you rather just leave that for
Oh
another
no,
time?
I am all over this. It's that Sunstrom bitch. You remember her?
Yes. Well, I was gonna say if Allie's gonna be taking a bit of time, maybe we could say 2 hours. We could meet back up. Allie.
And
Oh, yes, Ragnar.
sorry, I was just gonna say I wouldn't mind going back to the Nexus and just making dinner plans.
All right.
Yeah.
Still with Tristan.
All right.
I know
well,
it's not the most inconspicuous thing, but
We're trying to be seen right now, so that's not the worst thing. But Ellie, we should at least know where you are going in case there comes a time where we have to come find you.
Let me pull this up real quick here. I want to double check the name of it. So yeah, just simply, so she's going up here to the market.
Okay.
Well, if you want, I can accompany you, because I've got nothing better to do.
As Arvid offers that, I'm gonna kind of say in Thieves' Camp, I'm gonna say, is this something where others will not be allowed?
And without needing to say thieves can't, she nods and also says, her contacts are dwarves and they're not big fans of elves
Okay.
because that's
I'll
actually the
just
dwarven market.
yeah. I'll just kind of look to Arvid and say, uh, the people she's talking to don't like outsiders. Uh, but and I'm gonna uh look to Ragnar. I'm just gonna say, Ragnar, is it possible? Can you give her that wand I gave to you? So if anything does go wrong, she could at least maybe make some sort of a spark or something in the air.
oh, of course. I don't actually need it anymore. I can cast the spell myself. And she will hand the wand of prestidigitation to Allie.
Cool. She does not know that. And she's like, well, I can also just I mean I can cast message. I can talk to you guys. Like,
Isn't that rather short distance?
Well, I can stay nearby without going to the actual market itself.
Well, that would be up to Ellie. I'm confident she knows best what her friends will be comfortable with.
well, you could just sort of stay, I guess, within range of message. But if they even get, I mean, even if you cast invisibility, if they get any sort of inkling that I have somebody with me, they may not be very forthcoming.
Would it be any different if I came with you?
Potentially, and she sort of looks. I guess you wouldn't see it, but she's embarrassed to say this to Arvid. They don't like elves.
I'll just kind of look at Arvid. I'm just gonna say dwarves.
Well, you do realise I can turn into animals. I could quite literally be a mouse in your pocket.
Yeah, yeah.
Either way, I appreciate what you're doing in gathering information. I just don't want you to be anyone who's associated with me right now uh, is in somewhat danger. The the woman I saw or I spoke with when we first came back to the city is very good at taking care of herself, and she was able to be captured. So I'm not saying you're unable to take care of yourself. It's just I don't think your skills will matter. It would be best not to be alone.
Oh, I mean, again, I'm invisible.
Let's also not forget that the person who we're looking for can take on the shapes of others. Traveling in pairs just seems intelligent.
Oh, Arvid, how long can you stay in an animal form?
Each time for about 3 hours, give or take.
Will you need more than 3 hours, Ellie?
Probably not.
Arvid, instead of the mouse in the pocket, perhaps you could just be a rat that follows her around, so that way uh, you won't. If anything did happen, you will not be immediately tied to her.
Well, the problem is she's currently invisible, so how would I follow her?
She did do that rather early. I agree, especially since she's not even at the area yet. But
He was just trying to show off.
mm, um,
Takes
Or
she's
I
got
could
an hour.
go. I could go with Allie. I do speak Dwarvish, and I mean, when I spoke to the dwarves at the market, they seemed nice. That was a while ago, though.
was that when your family was still in good graces of the city?
She pouts as she realizes. Yes.
They might treat you a bit differently, but no offense, Arvid, you're not an elf, so they would probably be more welcoming of you.
And me and Allie can look at the market a little bit to make up for the fact that we didn't get to go dress shopping together.
As long as no one's by themselves, I'd be much happier.
Is that okay with you, Allie?
And she's like, well, should I not be invisible anymore? I don't know what's happening.
We're being hunted by a tiefling who works for very, very powerful devils in the hells. So, um, that's it would be best if someone came with you, just in case anything happened and you were found.
I mean, so yeah, you can come with me. I don't. We're probably gonna have to go to a like. They're not gonna have this conversation with me in the middle of the market, so we're gonna have to go somewhere, discreet to have a conversation, and I don't think they'll let anybody else come. But you can come with me and keep an eye out if that's what you guys want.
Okay.
Well, you can sure these are people you can trust and don't really have a possibility of being bought off to uh, betray you. I don't see a problem.
I mean, I don't see why anybody would betray me. I don't think.
All right, then we'll say 3 hours seems good. If you're not in the tunnels within 3.5 hours time, he will give you some time to walk there. Uh, we will we will come looking for you.
Okay.
I have no idea what my job is in this.
Yeah.
Well,
Stay safe, don't die.
well,
Turn into a bird and fly over the city. See what you can find.
well, I was gonna ask him if you could fly, but I think we're too low level for that.
I mean, you do realise, even while we're stood here having this conversation, I'm already drawing the attention of others due to my strange appearance.
Well, I don't mind us drawing attention to ourselves when we're in a group. It's at least safer that way.
So if you want me to go somewhere and draw attention, I can. Be the first time I get to use the feature "All Eyes on Me." Oh, on you.
Well, once we're all back in a group together, uh, after we've met underneath the arena, perhaps that would be the best way to draw her out. If I was with you and you got everyone's attention, chances are she would probably notice me, and then perhaps we could finally find her.
So I'm on standby somewhere until later.
You're with me. I believe Ragna and Allie are going to go try to gather some information about where the possible warehouse was. The rest of us are going to go to a safe location and wait for their return because if too many of us go, the friends will not speak with Allie.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I was just trying to understand what I was going to do, but if this is what I'm doing, okay.
All right. So, I would say everybody but Ragna at this point and Ali, you guys can head to the general direction of the arena, and then you can do perception checks, investigation checks to um, take a look at the tunnels to see if maybe there's been any sort of
Yes.
infiltration at any point, or and then see if you can spot anything that might be a little bit odd. Um, and yeah, I mean, I would say those are all obviously great. Um,
That,
just
that
like that's great.
that's great in a different way.
Yes. Um, so you do. It does look like it does appear to be safe. You're pretty confident that this hasn't been used recently, so you don't see anybody that you know you don't imagine there's anybody going to take you by surprise down here at this point. Lots and
I-
lots of dust and no footprints, basically.
All right.
So, same for Ali and Ragna. We'll have them do perception checks as they're making their way. Ali got a
Hopefully.
16.
Okay, good.
Um, so you get to the market, and you see, a few things. You guys walk around, like, notice a few things that like are kind of nice. She's like, if you want to, I don't know, like look around some more, and then, and she points to an older looking dwarf who's standing behind a little merchant tent. Like uh, that's him. He tells everybody his name is Connor, but he's that's not his name. But that's him, and so if you want to just look like you're, you know, browsing, I'll be right back.
Okay. And Ragna will look around the market nearby, but also keep an eye on uh, the pair. And specifically, she would also be looking to see if she can find a gift for Allie.
Do another perception check. Do an investigation check for presence, and a perception check to see if anybody is paying attention. You do see that a lot of the perception-wise, you don't really see anything particularly suspicious. Um, you investigation-wise, these are obviously mostly dwarven-made um, goods. So you do see like there are some necklaces and rings and stuff like that, but they are um, I guess you would describe them as they're beautiful in their own way. I guess, I mean, they wouldn't be your it's not like the some beautiful princess cut diamond ring type of thing. It's more, you know utilitarian, more uh, if you just think of like, I guess the best way to describe it, if you think of like even just it's sort of become the default now, the Lord of the Rings view of the dwarves, where they have the very square and sort of angular designs. Um, so you find stuff like that. I mean, it's nice. It's just, it's pretty much all dwarven made stuff. So if you
Yeah,
want to get
not
something
exactly
in,
what Ragna was looking for.
yeah. Um, but you see that she's having this conversation with this dwarf that she said was named Connor, and then you get a message. You see that she's not even looking at you. You can just see the back of her head, but she says she'll be right back, and you see them head back behind that tent, and you can't see it fully, but you can see there a door open and close behind the tent. You don't have a full view of the door, but you do see it open and close.
Yep. Ragna would say, I reply back, if so, a message if you need help.
I think she has to send another message. But she's like, oh, okay. And you probably about 15 minutes later start to get concerned that she has not returned and you have not heard a message.
Regna will say, hello? Does this mind thing work the other way as well? Probably not. Mm. Regna will kind of walk over to the tent. Does she notice anything strange?
No, I mean you obviously get a clear view of the door at this point.
We'll glance behind her and then move over to the door and stick her ear on to see if she can hear anything.
You can do perception on that. Don't hear anything specifically.
She will try the door. Is it locked?
It is not.
She will open it slowly and glance inside.
You have dark vision so that you can see, but it is dark in here. There are no lights. The windows are all. There are a few windows on the other side of the building, and you assume that they all have shutters on the outside that are all closed. So it's quite dark in here. You see at a table, it looks like there was. You get this is where she was going to meet with people because you can see that there is what looks like a map of Stormhaven on the table, and the chairs, and like there's two chairs, and then there are three like stools, and they're all pushed away from the table. So some of them are pushed further away than you would assume. Like they're too far away from the table. It's weird. So it looks like
Yep.
whoever got this looks like people got up quickly and sort of pushed the chairs and stuff away from them.
Regna would not even try to sneak and move closer and just say, Allie? And then switch to Dwarven and say, hello? Anybody there?
It's just absolute dead silence.
Can she look at the table to see if there's like signs of a scuffle or something?
Yeah, there is like a mug that's knocked over on the table, but aside from that, and the chairs being pushed, it doesn't look like there's anything knocked over or anything like that besides the mug. And you do see, quite obviously though, on the table there is, it is the map of Stormhaven. You do see a large circle on the map.
She just mutters to herself, I don't like this, I don't like this. And she's going to take the map, fold it up, stick it in her pocket, and will take one more look around the building before running off back to the others.
So yeah, when you're looking around the building, it looks like this used to be larger than it appears now. So like in the far right corner of the wall, there looks like there used to be a door that would have like, or not even a door necessarily, but like an opening that would have like continued on to the like the other side of this building, but it's completely bricked over, and it's not like it's done recently. I mean, it looks like this has just been squared off into a single room essentially, but it looks like it used to be part of a larger building around it. So if you walk out, you can kind of see next to it there is an adjacent building that you assume that this room used to be part of.
And is there any other door that someone could have entered or exited from?
Not that you can see.
Okay, she remembers the whole plane shift thing that Griswold was talking about and just speed walks out and then dashes back to meet the others.
All right. and it probably takes even running, probably takes a good 15 minutes or so to get to the arena.
And once she gets back to the others, she will just get into wherever they are at, slams the map on a surface like a table, and say, I think she's got Allie. I think we should go find her now.
Wait, what?
She had a meeting with the dwarfs, and they were in a room, and now they're not. They might have done the plane shift thing. I think she's gone.
Oh no, you mean she was kidnapped?
Yes.
Matt, do I know if the plane shift can take multiple people, or is it like a one-in-one thing?
It's not as large as like a plane shift would be, so she's not going to be able to teleport 8 people at once or anything like that. But it would be
It
the
could do
most
like
you would
more
ever
than
see.
just one or two.
Yeah, I would say that in you had seen her do it with herself and 2 other people, which happened to be you and the woman that you were with, the succubus. So you know that she can do at least 3, including herself.
Okay.
Well, Signy's gonna stand straight up and just kind of yell, "Nobody steals my sister's girlfriend!" And just start marching out. Lead the way,
just
Ragnar.
walking and asking her to once we get to the market, asking her to show us which way.
Well, she's got the map, so she will point to the circle and says, maybe there. I mean, at this point, it's probably a trap.
Matt,
But
is
we
there any
did.
markings on the map that mean anything to me?
The marking on the map is actually south, almost directly south of where you are. It's actually down here is where it's marked. You're not that you would know that that general area outside of that. I mean that's relatively close because I believe that like the Silver Cat's over here. So the southern part of the city down here is particularly around this entrance / exit is well really around most of the entrances to this place are lower income and it looks like it might be circling a abandoned warehouse area.
I will point that out first. I'll just Ragnar, that the marking that's much closer to here than the market is. We should check it first.
Okay.
It's what was described as where Callie was taken.
Okay, let's do it.
And I'm down to run the entire way until we're like a block or 2 away, and then start trying to sneak.
Okay. I assume everyone is going, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think it's a time for subtlety anymore.
All right. So yeah, if everybody wants to just do stealth once you get sort of around the general area.
With
Right.
advantage.
Disadvantage. Not terrible.
It's pretty good actually.
21.
Yeah. Pretty good. So yeah, you do get to the general area that's marked on the map. And you do see a abandoned looking warehouse. It looks like this was originally used because south of here there are farmland, and it looks like this was originally used to like store grain and stuff like that. But it doesn't look like it's not in use currently, and it doesn't look like it's been used for quite some time. You can see that there is a big dip on one side of the roof where water damage is just sort of like rotted the wood beams. It looks like it used to be painted a sort of a kind of a yellow color, and all of the paint is all flaked off, and it looks like a really strong wind might just knock it down.
Are there anywhere, or is there anything like cracks or windows or anything we go peek in through?
on the front side, I guess, of the warehouse, there are two big double doors, and then on the long side of the warehouse, there are well, there's one towards the back end, just a man door essentially. That one you can see appears to be barred from the outside. The big doors look like they're in just as bad a shape as the rest of the building, and they do have so like when you have like the people will put like a chain around like the handles of a door. It's kind of like that, but you can see that the chain isn't taut. So like you could certainly open one of the doors and look in because the chain would allow that.
Okay. Then yeah, I will just kind of look to everyone and just say, stay about 20, 25 feet back, and I'm just gonna try to sneak up, crack the door open, and give a peek.
Okay. You can't see in the dark.
I have
No, you can.
the
I
monocle.
forgot you can. You can.
I got to make sure my monocled eye is the one that peeks.
Yes. So yeah, you surprisingly, and you get up there and just like this is, I mean, it does sort of, you imagine that like a child could easily walk between the gap of this door because the chains are doing basically nothing. They're just keeping the doors from opening all the way. So you get a pretty clear view. And inside, you can see that there does appear to be some like partitions. So there might be like additional rooms, like small rooms within this place now. And near one of the walls that is like, and it's an interior wall, not the walls that are lining the outside. You see what looks like a boot, and it looks like it's probably like. It doesn't look like it's a boot that's just laying there. It looks like it's probably connected to a body, but you can't see. All you can see is the boot. But the way that it's sort of like sitting, it looks like there's probably a foot in it. And it's not it's not Allie's foot. It's obvious that it's not her boot.
Okay. I'll give it maybe like 10 or so seconds. Does it look like it's moving at all, like possibly sleeping, or does it look like it's just dead still?
It does not. It's not moving at all.
Okay. I will look around, see if there's anyone else on the streets around that are like looking at it or like in vision of us right now.
The only people you can see are your party mates.
Okay. I will just Signe, door is giving me a bit of a trouble. Can you get rid of it, please?
With my gross axe, I use it to demolish the door.
Or the chain, either one is fine.
All right, I fucking kick it in like the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah, I mean, like, so if you walk up to it and like you can just see, you can do it however you want, but I feel like Signe, you could walk up to it and you can see the way that it is. You can probably just put like your left hand on the door and then grab a hold of the handle and just rip the handle right off of because the wood is all rotted, so you can just pull the handle straight off of it. And
sure,
yeah,
I'll just pull the door right off. That sounds good to me.
So now the one that's attached to it just has a chain and then the handle hanging. But yeah, then the door opens up.
All right. And I'm just gonna say, everyone, keep your eyes open, and I'm gonna go in and look at the body.
Regna's gonna go in and see if she sees any alley.
Take out Wyvern's Bane and check out the perimeter real quick.
Yeah, everybody do perception checks.
Would I do investigation since I'm not really looking around? I'm more focused on the body.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Wow, low roll for a 15.
So once you get into the interior of this, you can tell that this doesn't appear to be original, but there are multiple construction pieces, I guess, in this barn, and you imagine that these interior walls are probably what's actually holding this place up now. And there are a few just essentially wooden walls that have been added, and they're not closed off, so they don't make rooms. They almost look like animal stalls, but they're wider than that. And it's the body that you can see is sort of behind one of those, and then in the far back there actually appears to be two rooms. So those partitions are actually closed off with doors. Um, Griswold, when you get up to it, it is a dwarf who is laying there.
Okay.
Um,
I will immediately, not like shout Ragna, but kind of Ragna. Does this one look familiar? And I'll like kind of try to roll him onto his back so you could just see his face.
Yep, Ragna would move closer and look. Is it the dwarf?
It is not the dwarf that you saw. It is not Connor, as Ali called him. This guy is younger. What you do notice that both of his wrists are broken. So his hands are kind of turned in a really weird sort of way. And when you sort of roll his body, you notice that his head doesn't turn properly with his body because his neck is also broken. So it makes a kind of a weird movement when you roll his shoulders.
Yeah. Ragna would just look pale and shake her head a lot.
Right. Well.
Callum will come over, do his shtick. Clearly not being stealthy anyway.
Yeah, I'm just gonna run through his pockets and see if I can find anything, Matt.
He's probably got about 5 gold on him.
He doesn't even bother grabbing it. He just drops it. He's looking for any sort of paper identification, anything like that.
Nothing.
Okay. And then I would just like not even thinking twice about the body, just like start looking around and seeing why this place might be marked.
Hey, what's up with the dead guy? Is he dead?
Very much.
Yes.
Does he have a tongue?
He does have a tongue, yes. You get the impression this might have been the information that Ali was trying to get, and that this might be the warehouse that Callista was taken to, based on the description that she saw of the
Okay.
interior.
All right. Well, I do think this is where Callista was brought, and I do think this is the place that Ellie was going to try to gather information on. A dead dwarf here. She was speaking with dwarves, and now she's no longer there. Ragna, you should bring us back to where you saw her last.
Well, what about those two doors over there?
Oh, I thought those were ones going outside.
No, they're doors to interior rooms.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, is there any noise or anything coming from them?
You don't hear any.
Are they locked or anything?
The door on the right is locked. The door on the left is not.
All right. Well, I'll point that out. I'll say, well, one is locked. Let's take a look in the other one first, and I'll crack open the left door first.
So in this room, you can see that it's I don't know the best way to describe this. It's kind of like a small table. I almost think of it more like a student's desk. You know, that sort of like that size, little square. And there's a chair behind it, and then on this desk there are like, I don't know how to describe this either. They're like metal clamps essentially that you would put somebody's wrists in. So you would have them sitting in that chair, and their arms would be on that desk, and then their wrist would be locked down. That's what, and there isn't anybody in it, but you can see that sort of setup, and there is.
Do I recognize
blood.
it?
You probably not.
As like a setup she would use.
I mean, you might have it like it might, you've never seen it specifically, but it seems like this very obviously looks like something you would do if you were trying to torture somebody. And there is blood everywhere. It's not new blood, but there are blood stains all over this desk and all down the front of it, and it's pretty obvious what you're looking at, but it's not pleasant to look at.
Well, if I'm just peeking my head in and looking in, I'm just gonna close it before anyone else like can really look and go or see anything inside, and just say, nothing in there, just a room where she would have done her work. And I'm gonna go right over to the other door's lock.
And this is kind of like a padlock on the door.
Mm.
A pretty simple lock overall. Yeah, I mean, easy peasy. So it pops open. You initially you see it's essentially it's a duplicate. The room is pretty much the exact same setup, but you do actually see a person who is sitting at behind this table. Um,
Are they like
you
locked in?
Well, one of the arms is locked in. You can see that the other arm is to the side, and the hand is missing. And you can see that it's been like very brutally cauterized. So like the where the wrist is, well, it's not a stump exactly, but where the hand was cut off, it's like blackened and burnt. The
Yeah.
other hand is still in the lock essentially, and you can see that all the hand is bleeding quite badly. All of the fingernails have been ripped out, and all of the fingers have been broken and are at really horrifying angles the way that they were snapped. So it's the left hand that's missing, and the right arm is still on the table. And the person is laying face down on the desk, and very clearly by the red hair, you can see that it is Allie.
Ragna would.
I were you like at the door?
Oh yeah, Ragna would have been right beside the
Alright.
door.
All right. Well, I will just say, Signe, get her.
Ragna rushes inside.
Yeah. You say get her, and not thinking about holding my sister back, I'm gonna run forward and try to start undoing the chains and stuff holding Allie down.
No, get your sister. I can take care of the lock.
All right. Yeah. I'll spin around and just grab Ragna.
And I'll
No,
I'll
just
go.
just a second. And Ragna's going to put a hand on her shoulder and cast Healing Hand. 7 hit points. Probably
As
not
she's
helpful
doing
for
it,
broken fingers, but
yeah, as she's doing it, Matt, is there a lock that I can try to pick on these wrist things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you are able to get her right hand out, and you can see that once you cast that healing, she is able to sort of lift her head, and you can see that it looks like she was punched a few times, and her nose is a little bit crooked, where it's probably been broken, and her eyes are a little bit swollen, and in sort of a very tired, sort of sounding voice, she says, "I didn't say anything." And as soon as she starts talking, behind you, you hear the sound of a chain dropping to the floor. And then, Griswold, you immediately recognize the voice that sends chills down your spine, that just says, "So predictable." And that's where we'll end the session.